Welcome to Gamers Without Borders, presented by Savvy Gaming Group. Watch, game, learn, and donate. We are in day 2 of this charity Rainbow Six Siege tournament. It is underway. We are having a ton of fun. I'm Jackie Jing. Hello, how are y'all doing? It has been a very long day, but very, very exciting, and it ain't over yet. We still have a ton of action ahead of us. So, B-Boop, please bring into the mix here Jesse and Jess. Hello. Jess is back. She took a little nap.
I did.
Right?
I did. I wanted to get myself all ready to go and rested in time for these North American games because this upper bracket is about to be spicy.
It is indeed. We got SSG, right? Up against Leftovers?
Yeah,
this is gonna be really fun.
I think they're about to be leftovers as well. Like if we're honest with ourselves here, they might be leftovers. Jackie's face right now.
I was like, Jess is ready to go. She woke up from her nap and she's like, all right, I'm going to tell y'all how it is. But it truly has been an amazing tournament. We've seen some incredible series so far. So we do want to give a big thank you to everyone who's competing here from EU, LATAM, and NA. So today we watched Wild defeat Victus from the EU bracket. B-Boop. Come on, B-Boop.
Yeah, come on, B-Boop.
Yeah, I was talking about the teams, and he's leaving me hanging there. Okay, they're up now. Okay, so with LATAM, MIBR beat FaZe swiftly, and now we are going to NA. We have SSG, Leftovers, Gaming Gladiators, and Parabellum here for that region. So very excited to get this matchup underway. Let's take a look at the NA bracket and see how everything has been playing out. You know, Jesse, everyone's been talking about SSG, but you were like, Jackie, I want to talk about Leftovers. You're like, I want to call attention to them. So here you go. Pop off.
All right. I mean, a lot of people are not going to know who Leftovers are. There were teams in North America that have played under this tag before, but this is a brand new squad. It's got a core of Butters and Filthy, who have played together for a really long time on a number of different teams. They played together on Two-Face, Tempo Storm, and of course Xset, the first stage of last year. And they brought in 3 young rookies to help them out and play throughout this tournament: Max, Dexter, and Adapt. Now, these players have never played in CL before. They did just qualify. So this squad played in the CL quals for stage 2. They managed to win relegation. So they are the one and only team moving into Challenger League this stage. But otherwise, there's 3 brand new players on this lineup that have only really played in underage leagues and low-level stuff, tier 3 type situations. So there's a lot of youngness, a lot of fresh talent on this roster, but they've got that core duo of Butters and Filthy to help them out and provide some veteran experience. So I'm excited for this team, if not for this game particularly, but for the future.
Okay, well, Jess chose violence today, and she was
To be fair, I love Butters dearly. Shout out to you, my man. I love Butters dearly. So, when I say, you're going to be Leftovers, I think he won't take it too much to heart, because I think the entire squad will know that this is just experience. Grinding as many comp games as you can is absolutely crucial. Scrims only give you a portion of idea about how much your strategy synergy is actually working. Hate to put it out there, but your scrim results kind of mean freaking nothing at that point. So for now, jumping into the comp is where it's really important. Go up against a team that doesn't want to lose and is putting everything on the line. That's where things will be stress tested, and that's really important for young rookies, as Jesse said.
Yeah, and obviously a lot of eyes on Spacestation Gaming. Jesse, I'm just going to be completely frank here. Are they just going to stomp them?
They should on paper, right? I mean, this should be the team dominating this tournament, right? If you're just looking at the players, looking at the rosters. Obviously, they didn't have the greatest stage 1. They wanted to qualify to Charlotte and play in the major. They didn't. I felt like some of the problems they had in those last couple of games were a lot of based on a couple of their defensive halves against both Sonics and Beast Coast. It really felt like, Rampy was not having the best time. He was a player that I signaled out. I was like, okay, well, Rampy is not showing up in a lot of these games. Yesterday, in their opening match against Parabellum, he popped off. He had a fantastic start to this tournament. So that tells me that the problems that SG were experiencing towards the end of that first stage probably aren't going to be a big factor here, and I do expect them to take this game.
Okay, well, speaking about SSG, B-Boop, bless his heart, has a very special video for us about SSG. So, B-Boop, please go ahead and roll the video. Thank you, B-Boop.
Game of Thrones. I would say Game of Thrones or Ozark, one of those 2.
It's so hard to pick a favorite for me, but Game of Thrones would be up there, so.
Yeah, I feel like that was a solid one. Margot Robbie.
Yeah, she's up there for sure. That's another good answer.
God, I mean, I'm just.
Rampy doesn't care about cars, so I don't know.
I have
if he has
said.
a
I have
dream car.
said. I have said. There's one car I will own.
Dodge Viper.
Yes, that is it. Wow.
Wow.
Wow. Give me Nux. Give me Nux for that
Told
one.
you, honestly.
Dodge.
Yep.
One car that I want.
All right, and that was a lovely video. Thank you, Bebop, doing an exceptional job. I keep on messing his name up. I'm like, Beboop, Bebop.
I don't know what you're referencing.
I don't even know
at this
what's-
point, but
Bop boop.
What? Okay, come on. You know what we're referencing, Jess. You're best friends with Beboop. Don't even act like you don't have an
don't tell the public
exceptional
that.
relationship with
No,
our operating
no.
system, Beboop.
I don't want anyone to
Okay.
know it's private. It's a private friendship.
Yes, private friendship. But we are almost ready. So I think that we're going to move into the map band selection process here in a hot second. We are working to bring that information up on your screens. And while we are waiting to do that, Jesse, what are you thinking for these teams? I know that that big brain of yours has a lot of info on the maps and these teams. So
Well, it's hard to know. It's hard to know too much about leftovers, right? We do have the maps that they played in CL and so, or in the relegation, so I should say. So they won Skyscraper back then, and then they also won Theme Park. So it feels like they're kind of leaning towards some of those newer maps. All three of the new maps still in the pool at the moment. Chalet gonna get banned out by Space Station. They are on a 3-map losing streak there, losing it a bunch of times at SI, losing it in NAL as well. So that tends to make a lot of sense. We don't see it as a big Space Station gaming map. Looks like we're still waiting on the rest of these bans to come through. Clubhouse, not a huge amount of info for leftovers. They've never played it before, but clearly not one that they're big fans of, as they've banned it first. For SSG, they played it a lot at SI. Big Clubhouse team at SI. Less so in the first stage of the NAL, but likely just due to a lot of teams banning it against them too.
I mean, you just think SSG, you then think of Clubhouse, you then kind of go,
Yeah.
what's the lesser evil here? We'll get rid of Clubhouse, and it's just one that fundamentally people know how to play. Bank and Villa off the board. I was wondering whether or not we would see a ban of Kafe from SSG, not because they lost against PB yesterday, but because it was just one of those things where, like, could you have played the others a little bit more effectively, like Border, like Oregon we saw from them? I actually think yes. I think those games were fine by them. And that means we probably might get a Kafe as a result. Still,
I could see it.
yeah, still to come out, of course. But for those who did miss the Gladiators and Leftovers, the Kafe game that Leftovers played was actually a 7-3 for them. So it was actually a good map. So the fact that it hasn't slid into the bans is interesting to me. Maybe SSG is just like, we can clean that up. We started off slow, whatever. And we'll see.
I mean, SSG were undefeated on Kafe through the first stage of the NAL. They played it twice, so certainly it's not a bad map for them. They're probably just thinking we're not scared of leftovers, despite the loss that we had on it previously. It will be the pick, so good on you, Jess. You got that. And then Oregon being picked up by Space Station. This was the decider game against Parabellum yesterday. They won it 7-3, so clearly feeling confident there. It's not a map that we've ever seen leftovers play. Of course, very limited competitive history from leftovers, so not saying a whole lot when they haven't played it yet. But still, it's going to be a new one from them when they get to map 2.
Ooh, what's the
Theme park.
decider going to be? I'm like,
I haven't seen
Skyscraper,
a good
theme
theme
park,
park in
and
so
Border.
long. We saw Skyscraper earlier on, so that's like one of those things for me. I'm like, okay, what about theme park? That's something personally I haven't seen in so long. And
there we are.
I know it's going to be like
Hey.
4:30 a.m. in the morning, but if we can go to theme park, that would satiate my need to see theme park for the first time in a very long time, at least as a
Yeah.
professional analyst. So yeah.
Yeah, it has
Park
been a
was-
while for me too.
It was one of the maps that Leftovers won in relegations. They picked it in the relegation game against Outlast, and they beat them 7-4. So that could be a good one for them if they can get all the way there. And it's actually a map that SSG have never played. So
Okay,
fun.
so we are still waiting for our players to get into their places, but now we have locked in Kafe, Oregon theme park. So you know what time it is. It is
Yeah.
time for predictions. I know Jesse loves predictions. Jess, you're a mixed bag on predictions here.
I am.
Jesse, what are you thinking right now?
I mean, as far as the maps go, I actually don't hate it for Leftovers. I think Theme Park is a fun one for them to pull out. Like they've won on that before. Kafe as well. I mean, there's a lot of maps in these pools or in this pool that like Leftovers just don't have a lot of experience on. But they managed to get at least 2 maps that they have gotten solid wins on in the past. So I do like it for them. SSG is still SSG. I think it's really hard to predict against them, especially coming in for a team with 3 rookies. So I'm still gonna go SSG. But I think this was a solid map ban phase for Leftovers. I don't think they've screwed themselves over by any means.
Yeah, I mean, the one loss on Kafe, I'm sort of nitpicking at that point, aren't I? I'm sort of just like trying to find like, I'm trying to find like that silver lining for the side of Leftovers, even though they pick Kafe, and I probably would too, recency bias. You're going to pick the one that they most recently lost on shore to see if you can take advantage. But I just think some of the Azami plays, whilst we didn't say that they were strongest, you have to know how to play up against that kind of setup specifically. You have to have that range destruction, and you have to be ready and prepared. Attacker repick will help with that in the rounds preceding, but I still think that defensively, SSG, I remember their Tachanka setup on Villa, for example, way back in the day. People did not know how to deal with it. I'm telling you now, if they come up with one Azami strategy, the SSG roam, I mean, they're just known for being that team that comes up with something. It takes months and months to disassemble, and then they've moved on to the next thing. So that's the kind of thing that on Kafe was, I think, very frustrating, was teams trying to pull apart that Azami setup on the piano side, because everywhere they threw a barrier, it was blocking lines of sight left, right, and center. So that's going to be super exciting on their defensive half from SSG.
Yeah, and that's a good point too. Just because, right, in Brazil, we've seen so many bans of Azami. It's been like non-stop throughout GWB. But in NA, we have yet to see one. So in North America, they really like playing with this Azami.
Okay, so I know we're really excited to see what North America is going to do with the Zombie, and we've just had a really special day, some incredible series. Jess, I know that you missed out on Latam, so I kind of want Jesse to fill us in here. Honestly, Jesse, I was shocked with how quick that went. I thought that FaZe was going to be putting up more of a fight, but I just kind of wanted to get your thoughts on what you were thinking about Latam.
Yeah, I mean, we started off with a very, very rough 7-0 win coming in for MIBR on FaZe's map pick of Villa. That one was tough, but I do think Bank was significantly better. Bank, we got to see a full 14 rounds, almost the entire way to 15, and FaZe had some really strong attacks. I really liked them in that first half of Bank, and I thought they'd be able to walk away from it. Unfortunately, MIBR also had really good Bank attacks, and part of that's the map. Large part of that is also just the meta that we're in right now. Both those teams are very, very good at handling attacker repick, bringing the tools for the job. They were always kind of switching out those operators. We saw that a lot, but yeah, I think as far as Latin America goes, I think FaZe will very likely get another shot at that. They play Escalina de Bubu down in the lower bracket. Probably going to win that one for the second time, and then they'll get the rematch for the best of 5 against MIBR. So, if anything, this was a little bit of scouting for them, and maybe they can come back with some better bans. Ban Villa next time, maybe.
You know what's super surprising as well is I don't know if we've really had time to discuss it on the desk, but since the players are still loading in, doing their little thing, toilet breaks, we love that. As the desk, we have to sit here and fill. But I personally love the fact that EU and NA, think about Gladiators and Leftovers, for example. One round differentiated the win from one team to the other. Max OT, that's where the bread and butter is for these teams. EU has been super close. We've been hitting 3 mappers left, right, and center. I don't know in my career the last time I've sat through a tournament set of days, not even just a singular day of tournament, but a set of days. We have different regions, different teams going head to head here, where it has gone the full 3 maps and it's gone back and forth consistently. I know LATAM has been a bit of a bowl over there, but those are the games I'm not working, so maybe there's a little correlation there. I'm not sure, but I definitely think the fact that the EU and the NA games have been so incredibly close, my heart sort of sits here and goes, hey, this probably spells a really good future for Siege as a whole, and teams that might not be in Tier 1 are slowly reaching that skill ceiling that I've always wished they had, and I think that's a really big thing, not just for this tournament, but beyond as well. So I hope Leftovers put on a good show, because that resume filler is and that competitive experience is so important.
It's nice that in Europe and in Latin America, we've been able to see through this tournament these lower tier 2 teams play against the best of the best, play against the top teams. In North America, we haven't seen that yet, because of course in the first day we had SSG versus Parabellum, 2 NAL teams, and then we had Game and Gladiators versus Leftovers, 2 Challenger League teams. So we're gonna finally get to see if it's the same for North America, where we're seeing a lot of those tier 2 teams punch up and make some upsets happen that maybe some of us aren't predicting. We've talked a lot about Space Station Leftovers and how that one is going to be tough for the Leftovers, but I even think on the other side of things, like with Parabellum playing against Gaming Gladiators, that's a huge potential for an upset.
That'll be fun. Yeah, that'll be a fun one to watch too. I'm not going to lie either. I think that the series have actually been really impressive. Even FaZe versus MIBR, I know there was that one map that was 7-0, which to be honest, like I have not seen many 7-0s in my R6 career, but otherwise we've seen some really great barn burners, exceptional series. So let's keep our fingers crossed. Boop, we hope this one's just as good. So we're going to send it down to Ollie and Demo. I think that the toilet break that our one of the players is taking is finally over. So
Excellent.
to the cyberpunk basement we go. Take us away, Boop. Also, we don't say toilet in the US. We say bathroom.
Thank you very much indeed, our wonderful desk of Jays, Jackie, Jess, and Jesse. It is time. Demo, we're on different sides.
I noticed that.
This is a bit new, isn't it? Yesterday I was on the left and you were on the right.
I like this. I don't know.
It's gonna mess everything up as well because my mic arm. Say again.
You're me and I am you because I seen that. Oh, there we go.
There we
It's
go.
the other way around.
See, my mic arm's going to be in the wrong spot now for holding everything. So when we go back onto the screens, we're just going to fall over. It's going to be a nightmare. No, I'm not too sure how we're going to deal with it. But exactly, nothing. We'll watch on the screen. That's more important.
True. We're just kind of floating.
I'm just hanging midair.
New tech.
Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. We are, of course, here to cover Leftovers versus SSG. It is going to be an upper bracket game inside of NA. Yesterday, Demo, we did get to see SSG. We did get to see them face off against Parabellum. A lot closer, I think, than we really anticipated. It doesn't seem like the desk is too, Leftover-sided today. It's obviously, not as difficult a game as SSG faced yesterday, but we know that there's a little bit of upset potential here.
It always is, I think, in these kind of competitions where anything can happen. I think for a side like Leftovers where there's not a single bit of pressure on them whatsoever. You look at the Parabellum SSG game, I think both teams, there's pressure to make a statement. The first game that both those teams are playing since the last time they played NAL, so there was that kind of pressure for Leftovers. They're just here to play Siege. That's it, and that just kind of proves that they have no pressure on them whatsoever. And SSG obviously being the favourites, that's going to be the natural pressure, isn't it, right off the rip?
Exactly. There's everything for SSG to sort of go out here and prove tonight. And as you mentioned there, that's really where the only pressure lies. Leftovers can come in and just play a good game of Siege. It's a charity tournament after all, so we're not expecting to see, everything super serious. But equally, we're expecting to see some good games. We certainly got good games yesterday. I was very pleased off the back of the best of three that we watched, SSG versus Parabellum. I think that was nice and refreshing. And of course, FaZe game prior to that. So it's it's built to be a good one. Go into a couple of maps that we went to yesterday as well. We've got Kafe in Oregon to kick things off, and then Theme Park as a decider if required. Now, it was spoken about on the desk, but of course, Azami is always something that's worth bringing up. This being one of the first times that we're actually getting to see Azami in a competitive setting, or at least with professional players using them. And yesterday, it got a lot of playtime on Kafe.
Yeah, I think it's been the kind of talk of the town, isn't it? Just how good is this operator and what she really brings to the table. Boatload of utility soak. I think that's kind of been the key thing, isn't it, Ollie? Just that the amount of nades and Flores drones, Sophia, whatever it is, can just soak up. It's really helpful to the defense. You look at a map like Kafe, which is where we're going to first. That is utility through and through. It's all about how well you can displace some of these defenders. It's about getting your nades in as well as you can. With these barriers now in the way, it's just going to soak up even more of those nades. And, we've seen plenty of times where the attackers, they've been put in a position where they just don't have enough.
Absolutely. And if you're Leftovers and you sat there watching the games play out yesterday, obviously Leftovers will have been able to go back and re-watch the SSG game to get an idea of what they're going up against. They kind of roughly know anyway, but this is the first time we're seeing SSG play in a while, given that they had a break and didn't make it to the Charlotte Major. There's certainly things that you could look to try and exploit here with the way that we saw SSG playing yesterday, whether that be on Kafe, whether that be on Oregon. SSG were very good on Oregon, so it would be very difficult difficult to sort of pick holes in that. But certainly Kafe, a very close game, went to overtime, really could have gone either way. But SSG, everything didn't come their way. It wasn't the easiest game of Seeds that we've ever seen them play. So I'd be keeping a keen eye on how Leftovers want to try and approach that, and if there's anything that they really want to try and dig into and exploit.
Yeah, a lot of points you made there. One, obviously, about the Azami Leftovers. They also played yesterday. And, you know, you kind of look at how Leftovers went through their ban phase. They left Azami open. You know, they didn't want to ban it. So maybe Leftovers not fearing that. Maybe are they going to have a go and play it now, as we already have a bit of a rehost. Right off the rip. But another point that you made as well, Ollie, is SSG in that Oregon. How confident was that side? Just how confident were they in Oregon? That's going to be our second map no matter what. I have a feeling that this series hinges on Kafe. You have to say that. It hinges on Kafe. There's no doubt in my mind that SSG can go and take Oregon. You know, every team can play Oregon. We know that, Ollie. You can play Oregon. That's how easy it is. But there's a difference between you can play Oregon and, oh, they can play Oregon. You know, there's that level of a difference. And I think whenever you come against such a well-oiled machine that is SSG, whenever they know the basics through and through, they know every decision making, they've ran the playbook on every single account. And I think because Oregon is so easy, and I think for a team like SSG who's been around for so long, they'll know every situation. Any issue that comes up, they'll know how to fix it. Any opening that they see, they'll know how to make it wider. That's just how they're going to be able to play Oregon. Whereas Leftovers, probably still figuring things out. Because they're still a very new side.
New side, exactly. And they've not been put under the gun so many times. We got a glimpse there as to just how this Kafe might go. Leftovers, even though it was a rehost, they didn't excuse me, they didn't actually have to lock in their ban. They actually chose to remove the Flores anyway, and just like, yeah, this is how we're going to roll with this one. It makes no odds at this point, 5 minutes out from the game, but banning the Flores was really something that we were getting at when we were discussing the burn utility, the soak utility. You know, you're going to play Azami. Azami's likely going to be open, of course, unless SSG decide to ban. But even still, Flores is something that SSG as a team, they don't quite base themselves around it, but they tend to bring it more often than not, and it's a great option for getting rid of utility. You know, you can send those in ahead of any nades, ahead of any throwables, deal with shields, and then you can worry about the nades to remove, you know, players from positions or throw them vertically or whatever it might do. So it just frees up another piece of utility. SSG played Flores so much yesterday, it's not really too much of a surprise to see Leftovers keen to get that one removed.
Yeah, one thing is as well, which I think is an interesting point to talk about, is just because these concrete barriers and how good they can be, if we're seeing Flores bans, who then do you switch to? I'm surprised that we're not seeing Ash maybe come into the picture a bit more. Keep in mind, she has 3 others breaching rounds. She can do them at range as well, whereas, you know, Flores sometimes can be a little bit tricky. You have to go through mute jammers, go through players in some instances to get to that objective, whereas Ash could be a great pickup. You have the 3 breaching rounds. You know, Sophia's being brought dominantly, as we know, mostly because there's a big old LMG along with the soft destruction. But I think Ash could certainly be viable if you need it. You know, if these concrete barriers are really becoming an issue, she could be a savior for many teams. But I still think, because you look at Iana, you look at Finka Ollie, you still have 2 Gone 6s, you know, with those operators. That's another 2 soft destruction in a way. So I think that's kind of where we're at, is, you know, players are still going to be going for the Gone 6s and the nades, plus the better guns, compared to Ash with the R4C, who only has the breaching rounds.
Yeah, it does make it quite difficult then when you start to, you know, I'm a big advocate for bringing Ash in. You know, Ash, bring her into the meta. It's get Ash the ACO back. That was the start. You know, it was the beginning of the end almost for the entries. And you know, we had to wait quite a long time until things like Iana and Finka became so prominent. But it's certainly an option to bring those breaching rounds back in. Let's see whether that's going to be something that we see Leftovers opt to try and get away with today or not. The likelihood is, until LMGs are changed, I don't think that we're going to see Ash make too much of a return, but you never know. If the LMGs ever get nerfed, she's probably not going to be a bad option.
Oh, and there's the Flores. We'll be stuck in. And what's going to follow, though? I think that's probably the better question, isn't it, Ollie? What will follow? Is it going to be the Azami?
Defender ban. Defender ban follows the second attacker ban.
Thank you, Captain Obvious.
They're the ones that are in orange. Or blue, depending on your outlook.
Oh, okay, so Azami's definitely going to be left open. That's a fact.
Valkyrie back in the banning sites. Mirror removed as well. You've not really got an option, I'll be honest with you. Mirror skyrocketed in popularity. I mean, Mirror's never not been popular. But there was just a period where, you know, a little cheeky Mirror could just fly under the radar in the ban phase. But not anymore. Valk and Mirror both removed. A lot of information has gone there. For as much as we've spoken about as Army demo, we're not actually going to see it in this first site at least. SSG are going to opt for a little bit more structure, I think, and a little bit less flexibility. They're still going to have barricades, they're still going to have things that need to be burnt, but they're not going to be as flexible as the concrete barriers that can be placed pretty much anywhere.
I mean, we talked a lot about the Azami, Ollie, and it's just, you know, we look like a bunch of fools, don't we?
Early days.
10 seconds to go.
Look at the lineup coming in from leftovers. That is very aggressive, I would say, more than anything. Whenever I see the Twitch come in, you know it's going to be hot and heavy. That F2 moving in, doing whatever needs to be done. I think the Nomad's obviously going to be a solid pickup. It isn't really too orientated, Ollie, towards, you know, that kind of east-sided take that I think we've seen a little bit off, so I think it's going to be a bit more of a traditional approach for leftovers, where you're just going to be looking at clear piano take. I think SSG, they were quite headstrong when going for those east-side takes a few times yesterday.
I'm reloading.
Yeah, SSG were really happy to bring the book and work from beneath, weren't they? We'll see if it's something that they want to try again. It wasn't flawless for them by any stretch. Really looking toward leftovers as to how they establish themselves here. Fairly standard lineup, all things considered. The only maybe question mark is potentially the Twitch. Obviously, with Mirror banned out here, it's not really going to be used in the typical way of dealing with those mirror windows. You can still get rid of a bit of utility with the shock drone. The fact that it is now a laser as opposed to just an electric charge that's shot out does give you a little bit more flexibility. You have a lot more range on it as well. Leftovers for the time being. Just going to start to make their way in to this cigar shop area. They've got a little rotation there into piano as well. They're going to turn their attention toward Pixel. Very standard take so far.
Taking their time, which I think is probably the best thing to do. You don't want to jump the gun at any point. You want to make sure that man advantage is at level. Or, of course, try and get some picks if you can in the attack, but just don't give any away. A lot of different angles that you need, a lot of different guns for. Defenders can kind of crouch walk around that long bar. Ollie, we've seen plenty of times where it's a little bit slippy at times. Attackers sometimes let defenders just go about their own free will. They do regret that sometimes. So here comes the utility burn in towards Pixel. They have destroyed the shield, but at the moment, Bathroom's still in favor for SSG. 50 seconds. Need to get a move on. That bulletproof is also causing some issues. All that's good information for SSG. They can feed that info over to Skies and let him know if he's getting swung or again pushed or anyone who's going near him.
SSG going to kick things off. Butters first to fall. Still trying to deal with the player inside of Washroom here. SSG have just got a lot of utility set up in and around the area. The bulletproof camera, Sky's playing close with the shotgun. He's got a mute jammer at his feet, so it's going to be difficult to drone him out of there. And we have a player on the white stairs. It's almost an extension of the Pixel hold, and it's been something that leftovers haven't been able to deal with at all. 9 seconds left, diffuser cold on the ground, and we're still trying to get Skies out of Bathroom. Adapt's going to get taken out as he tries to rotate and pick up that diffuser. Maxley left inside of Whitehall. Bulletproof still up. SSG hardly scathed their demo.
Great hold. Same hold they did against Parabellum. You know, we seen that only, didn't they? The difference is between what Parabellum did compared to Leftovers is Parabellum, they more kind of orientated their attack going up through White Stairs, didn't they? That's where they tried to enter in from, and it worked quite well. I think whenever you look at how Parabellum played, Blaz was able to move in and get those kills because they were aggressive. You know, they knew that they had to just take the gunfights. That's what you can do in Kafe. That's it. If the utility isn't working, which as we've seen, both walls being kited, Haban is useless. They cannot open up the electro claws. They cannot open the wall. You just have to go for the kills. Parabellum did that. They didn't shy away. They took the gunfights. Look at Leftovers, Ollie. Just too shy, weren't they? They just sat back. They didn't know what they wanted to do. And they just tried to, like, walk on the site, and that's not going to work.
They're timid. They're very timid. Sometimes, Demo, you've got to make the play, or the player will make you.
Stop that, because Dez has been using that, and I'm going to start handing out royalty claims against you.
It's so true, though, isn't it?
5 seconds to
As if I haven't been saying it for the past, few years about that saying. Of course it is. Whenever moments like that where you know nothing's happening. You know, everyone's been in that situation where you're just looking at attacking and thinking, what are we doing? What is going on? Sod it. I'm just going to do this. That's what I think Leftovers needed to do. They just had to have confidence in themselves and say, you know what? I'm just going to push in. If we try, and it works, brilliant. If we try and it fails, oh well. At least we tried something, you know?
Yeah, I mean, they need to press the effort button, don't they, really?
Just have to go for it, just commit.
We've got to try and go for this, and we've got to commit. Let's see if that is something that they try in this round.
Oh, he done this yesterday,
Finally
didn't
have the Azami, but, I mean, this is just horrible. It's got Fultz picking up a couple of kills written all over it.
Oh, this is a freebie. Oh, he's missed it, Ollie.
You say that he's missed it, he's still kept himself alive there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You think back to how timid Leftovers were in the previous round. That isn't going to help them at all when they've got a very hostile defense that's been set up upstairs.
He's out piano, though. Hasn't hung around too long to really put a dent into the Leftovers attack. And Leftovers, I think they've discovered that. They see that piano is clear. Oh, no. A Razor Bloom kill. I'm pretty sure that Butters, he dropped down into red. He triggered the gadget. And then Max, they followed through and died because of that.
You don't often get to see a Razor Bloom
No.
actually get the kill. Usually they deal a little bit of damage and they're a bit annoying. They'll maybe push you into a different position, but not often you get to see the actual kill converted with it. Good stuff. Filthy's done a lot of work here with the hammer. He's been able to remove a couple of the Azami barriers and do plenty of renovation upstairs. But of course the site is going to be downstairs inside of mining. And we're still chasing shadows up here. Look at the drones left. There's a minute left and there's 3 drones alive.
This is it from Leftovers. They need to now start making those plays like we mentioned, Ollie. This is not the time to take your foot off the gas. You need to go, go, go. You need to try and get some kills. And even SSG, look at how they're starting to set up. Maybe they're looking to play even more aggressive in the defense. They don't have to, of course, at this stage, Ollie, but SSG are not going to give Leftovers really any inkling at all into this round. 20 seconds looks to be maybe a bit of a triple pillar drop coming in from Leftovers. Filthy will be first up to bat inside of Reading. Who is he going to be able to take on? Dexter working on the site at the moment, but look how patient SSG are. They're not giving anything away. There's the swing. Bosco using that rotate. Hot and cold finds another. Dexter will respawn, but really at what cost? Diffuser's going to be going down, and Adapt, oh, it does get the pistol shot, but there's so many SSG players still remaining. Bosco will seize the final kill. Leftovers, they drop another round, Ollie. Just timing again.
That upstairs hold from SSG paid dividends, and the interesting thing there, Demo, is how early did Fultz drop off from that hold? You know, he didn't play inside of Piano for very long at all. It was a little bit close toward the end, but when the time's on 0 like that, and you've got such a man advantage, you've just got to flood the site, especially if the last guy that's alive with a gun covering has got a pistol in his hand. You're going to take that engagement. That's exactly what SSG did. Leftovers really dragging the feet on these attacking rounds. They need to up that pace if they're going to have enough time to execute in the later part of the round. And SSG, as you said, Demo, Patience. Patience really was the key there for them.
It was indeed. Just don't have to give yourself away. Whenever you get that opening pick, I think as well, it's so important to maintain that, isn't it? Because if the attackers are a man behind Ollie, they're always going to be chasing the round, aren't they? They're always going to be one step behind. And SSG want to make sure they can maintain that. They just want to make sure they keep themselves alive, steady that lead. And, you know, we mentioned this yesterday, Ollie. If you have that man advantage, just trade, and eventually you will have just left with one player left because everyone else has died.
Do we need to run through the math again just to make sure it checks out?
I don't think we need to.
I can't remember exactly what the formula was. Something along the lines of 5 take away 4 is 1.
And I said that you're the one I want.
There we go. See, I think that whilst you're still a little bit of a whippersnapper, I think that joke's probably a little bit old.
Is it?
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with a bit of grease.
Oh, there's nothing wrong with it, but I just don't think that it's a joke that everyone's going to get.
I hope people get that. If you
Also-
haven't seen Grease, what are you doing with your life?
I'm glad that Maxley shot that speaker. There is somebody on SSG that is refusing to shoot that speaker
That's
out.
no Grease.
It's happened a couple of times. We get greeted with the beautiful classical music that's playing upstairs, but I want to hear footsteps, man.
Yep. Another point that we haven't mentioned as well, Ollie, with SSG yesterday against Parabellum, they did lose this map against Parabellum, but we said it wasn't the greatest showing from SSG. A lot of things that you would consider some rookie mistakes were catching them by surprise. We've seen spawn peaks happen. We've seen early runouts. Moments like that I think really saw over Parabellum in that map, and I think SSG have been able to learn from that. Obviously, they're on the defense, but I think during the attack, they'll be ready for moments like that. I think that was the wake-up call during that tournament for them. So I think today, you know, they're going to come out here on Kafe and make a big statement.
Also, if you look at the kind of team that Parabellum are, they're a very aggressive team that are relying on some very talented
end of the day.
individuals. Yeah, they're wanting to get in and amongst kills and really flex that fragging prowess that they possess. And I've not really felt that same sort of fire from Leftovers yet. Granted, we've seen 3 rounds, but there's not anybody that's getting themselves in trouble repeatedly early on and it's working for him. It's not. It's just very slow and steady. Saying that, they did actually get the opening pick there.
That's the first opening pick for them. And goes the nade from Maxley, trying to pressure in towards Bunker at the moment. There is one player stationed in that position, but at the moment Bosco is safe. However, Hot and Cold, he's not safe. And speaking of Bosco, he also falls. Just a couple of picks here and there for Leftovers, and now they have a very strong man advantage. Skies on the Echo of 1 versus 4. What is he going to be able to do? Inside a bakery, diffuser going down. He's just stuck, Ollie. Sure, he has the Echo cams, but he's not going to be able to deny the full time. Even misses sticking it to the ceiling. Nice shot on the Butters, but diffuser's going down. Upstairs pressure applied by Leftovers. This is an unwinnable position from Skies, and Filthy will catch him upstairs using those vertical linings. Only issue with Kitchen sometimes, what we mentioned, Ollie, is if you don't have that mid-floor control, it's very tough, isn't it?
Very tough indeed, and I think SSG are just a little bit soft downstairs in Kitchen. We didn't get to see Adapt picking up the majority of those kills there.
Nice shot on the Butters, but diffuser.
Wow, that was demo in slow motion.
Attackers need to locate and defuse
What?
That was brilliant.
Why did I sound like an evil villain?
You sounded like a little bit Scottish as well.
Bit of Scottish, bit of the Ulster Scots coming through.
That was... I'm going to have nightmares about that, I think.
My goodness.
It's going to haunt my dreams. Back upstairs we go for SSG. They can afford to drop that third choice site. Maybe when we see them return to Kitchen, if we see them return to Kitchen later on, they may instead go for a little bit more of a roam and just give a few more problems over for Leftovers to solve. But with regards to how the first round went, they don't really need to do anything differently. That big point of contention for Leftovers should be the washroom. They need to try and pressure into that washroom as much as they possibly can. Make sure that those ADSs are burned. They've got so much burn utility. They're bringing 8 nades this time. That is more than enough.
Overkill, one would say.
I mean, it could be overkill. If you don't get three kills and you bring in 8 nades, there's a problem somewhere.
I'm still shocked that we're not seeing more Wamai. I said it yesterday. Barely seen any Wamai yesterday in Kafe, and I'm just in awe that we're not seeing them. I really am. But maybe SSG, you look at the lineup. Where do you make room? You'd probably say maybe Faults, but I know that they want to keep kind of 2 bulletproofs, don't they? So you can kind of see that reasoning, but then again, is it? Oh, I know. Hey, SSG, let them do what they want to do, but I just think Wamai, for this kind of hold they're going for, I think would help a lot.
Yeah, there was definitely a lack of Wamai yesterday. I mean, it could be one of those things where they just don't want to give away the best, their best Wamai spots. They don't want to really tell everyone how they're going to be using it come stage 2.
This is, what, the 4th time SSG have played this exact same strategy in the past 2 days?
Yeah.
There's no difference depending who they're playing on. It could just, maybe this is this the new default? I don't know. Is this a new default setup that we're going to be seeing from time and time again just in the community? We know SSG,
Works quite well.
They're a trendsetter of a team, aren't they?
Certainly are. Already we can see the focus here from Leftovers. It's much more heavily directed towards Skies in the bathroom. Skies is no longer in the washroom though. The Maverick Blowtorch is going to force him out. Can't play long range with the shotgun, so going to have to dip himself back and make a little bit of a rotation. Dexter should be able to cause a little bit of damage into freezer storage as well. And that's how many nades they've brought down. Well, they can afford to be burning ADSs with them.
Yeah. Oh,
what a
Rampy!
rotation! Rampy comes out of nowhere.
Rampy, I think he just slipped in towards the new hatch hole. He just goes for a swing and finds 2 of them. Faults finds another. Butters is slowly hedging his way on through down towards White Stairs. Position will be known now. Somebody needs to put an end to this, man, because Sky's under a lot of pressure. Skies will be down, and I think maybe finished off by a grenade. Yes, he will be. Filthy also takes up arms inside of bathroom. Diffuser, though, is called. Faults finds Butters. Filthy trying his best to see if he can get some kills. Faults with a swing, gets shot down. He knows where the last man is, but Busco staying alive inside of freezer. Who will land the shotgun blast, and how many times have we said this man is a savior for this team? How many times?
Well, he doesn't get called Boss Goat for no reason.
He does have the most clutches in the game, doesn't he, at events? That's a correct stat that I think I seen the other day.
Specifically
sure
at events?
Yes.
It wouldn't surprise me. He's typically last alive and he regularly plays onto a shotgun, whether it's a mute or a smoke or whatever it is. So you're putting yourself in that ballpark, aren't you?
Yes, yeah. He's the best clutcher I think this game's ever seen. I don't think is that an outrageous statement? I don't think it is. I don't think many people will contest that.
No, I think for consistency. There's not, to my mind, a Bosco clutch that really sticks out. I've got others that stick out in my mind, but I don't know if that's just bias because maybe I was casting the event or working it.
I get what you mean. It's like Bosco has never had like an outrageous, nutty one.
Flashy clutch. Not that I can think of straight off the top of my head. I'm sure that someone in chat's
he's done the same clutch 100 times, which is still very, more impressive than I think sometimes.
I'd take that.
Plays.
Yeah, I would take Bosco clutching 100 times versus the Nello clutch on Coastline that one time. And that's not to say that Nello isn't someone that clutches, but that's just one that sticks out in my brain.
Here we go. Moving in. Round 5. Here's where we head to. No little C4 up the hatch this time. We know that Hot and Cold was a fan of going for that, wasn't it, against Parabellum? Worked very well.
I think there's time for that still.
Already, Butters is gone. He's been on either an entry or an opening death. It seems to be one or the other, and I think he's definitely had more opening deaths than opening kills at the moment, Ollie.
Yeah, it hasn't been great. It's almost like there's been a bit of a thinker curse for whoever has gone against SSG.
Yeah, Gunner struggled yesterday, didn't he?
Gunner didn't play very well. Like, we just don't see whoever's on thinker doing particularly fantastically. C4 getting threatened there from below. Filthy can't get himself out of the way in time. Rampy is going to make one land. Second kill for SSG, and let's be honest, there's no option to trade a C4 from below, Demo.
No, there is not. Horrible start for Leftovers. Sledge gone. Thankfully, they have the Buck who can fill in that position, but you're still losing 2 men. You're still down 2 men against SSG, and we know if SSG, they have that man advantage, Ollie, they'll keep hold of that. They will just sit in corners, they'll not move an inch, and they'll just let Leftovers sweat it out. You know, now Adapt, you can see he's desperate for a kill, Ollie, to get his team back in. But you're playing into SSG. SSG wants you to do that. SSG wants you to overpeak because they're just going to be sitting waiting for you.
Exactly. When you try and get something going now, in the moment, it's going to be very difficult for it to come through. Nade goes in, but it doesn't dish the desired amount of damage out. Hot and Cold throws the C4. It is shot out mid-air by Maxley, but SSG aren't going to be too concerned. Maxley there, trying to bait out with the Gemini clone. Hot and Cold's been around the block. He's not going to fall for that one. Still just holding fast. There's no reason for him to move just yet. Can continue to hold the angle and wait for his prey to come to him, which is exactly what is going to happen. Dexter, he's at the bottom of Brown stairs. SSG, again, they don't need to move. They're not being given a reason to. It's going to be Rampy to collect his second kill on the round. And a flawless for SSG.
Oh, flawless. SSG just have that man advantage. Not going to give anything. We know that. Leftovers felt that at full force. Not a good start. I mean, to be fair, it is Kafe. We have said that defense is certainly favored, but a lot of these rounds, it's been one-sided. I think that's probably been the more outlying factor, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not been a close game so far, has it? It's a 4-1, and it feels like it should be a 4-1.
You look at the kills.
Scary.
Leftovers, there's not much.
Yeah, it's a tough day when you flex and you flank watch who've got more kills than your entries.
Very true. Nobody really having a bad game from SSG, you can say. It's tricky.
Let's see if they finish it strong here. It can be tough to attack Kafe.
Hey, I'm still faith. I think Leftovers still just because it is Kafe, and the amount of times where I've seen Kafe games be so turbulent, Ollie, where we could be sitting here at 5-1 thinking, oh, that's them done, a 5-1, how do you come back? And then they win 7-5. It happens more times than you think, so I'm not, I don't think it's set in stone. I'm not too hopeful that, yeah, this is SSG through and through. I still think SSG, obviously, in the better position, but it all comes down to SSG and how they do on the attack, which we will admit, Ollie, that's where SSG, I think, struggled a little bit more on Kafe, didn't they?
Yeah, and especially without the Flores. Flores was such a big part of the SSG attacks. You remove that away, and as long as you can keep your head up knowing that, you know, you might have a very rough attacking phase yourselves. Daps is just spinning on the roof, having a great time. It's almost like the Leon Gids spin. Was it Leon that used to do that demo? Do what? The spin. You know, there was the way where you could get a kill in the final kill cam and then spin, and it would just like spin you infinitely.
Reese?
I remember who like pioneered it.
Reese. Back in the UK days. I think so.
I thought it was a Leon thing. Seems like the sort of thing he'd do.
So,
these mini games are so difficult for Leftovers to solve. SSG have just set this bathroom hold up again. Because why not? It's going to work. This time it's Bosco that's going to be playing there. But it's such a similar setup. Oh, you've still got your Gon 6 in your hand and you get caught by 2 Amis. Like, they're the mistakes. They're the small micro mistakes.
They got the
really swing around.
They got the shield, which is a good start. In comes another nade, and will successfully nail on defaults. Adapt also finds Skies. This is looking a lot better for Leftovers. Utility is working. They're throwing everything that they can, Ollie, and hope it sticks, and right now it is. Hot and Cold and Bosco. What can they do? Hot and Cold trying to support Bosco as best as he can. Bosco inside a bathroom still. I mean, Butters looks as if he can maybe just aggress, but no, in comes the swing. Attack goes down, but Butters will be there with the refrag. Hot and Cold looking to get aggressive, looking to see if he can find somebody. Will see ahead. Down goes Finka, and another one for Hot and Cold. This is clutchable. This is a possibility, but no, Maxley shuts him down. Hot and Cold, I thought the stars were aligning, but Maxley, he sees another sign, and it's a leftovers round.
Such a close round as well. You've got to feel for Hot and Cold there. He obviously had a lot of good information. He knew exactly when the player was going to be rotating just on the other side of long bar and entering, looking to challenge him in freezer. That first shot was incredible. I didn't even see Butters there. Second kill here off the back of the information, and he knows that he's going to get pushed soon. Such a difficult one to play as well, but in that situation, you've got to be going for that challenge. You can't be getting caught flat-footed. Great round for Leftovers to pick up just before the turn of the half.
So this is really the make or break, isn't it? This is where I think we kind of see how this next half will go. If we see Leftovers come in, I think, to what? This next round, and they take it quite convincingly, I think we've got a good game in our hands here, Ollie. But if SSG go, and they take this next round, then Leftovers really need to start pulling out some big defensive wins. But, you know, SSG, I think if they can get this first attack over the board, that's their boundary set.
Yeah, 2-round buffer isn't a lot in reality. You're going to be expecting Leftovers to be able to pick up a couple of rounds here, depending on which site they're going to be favouring. I'll have to see how SSG are going to choose to approach this. Of course, we've mentioned the absence of Flores, banned out by Leftovers, something that SSG played quite a lot yesterday. That adaptation coming through. It's going to be Fultz on the Nook. Realistically, that's one of the sort of change arounds you would make. You would still like to have an Abana, you would still like to have a hard breach, you're still probably going to bring a Sledge and a Finka. Skies kicks things off, makes the nades work. Thing of beauty to see a nade kill onto a Jaeger.
The irony, isn't it? It's always the irony. So much utility, though, like to burn through. It's insanity sometimes. And I mean, the fact that you look at that lineup and there's been a nade kill right off the rip, you're puzzled, aren't you?
Yeah. It's definitely a problem, especially when, you know, you've actually got the Wamai that you've been asking for, Demo.
You've got all three of them. You've got Rune, Jaeger, and Wamai. There should be no nade kills happening. Not that early on. And you look at the flashbangs, still 5 of them for SSG. They haven't even burned for utility yet, and there's still nade kills happening. Big question mark for Leftovers. But still, plenty of time left. See if Leftovers can find a pick or two. You know that SSG, they actually weren't too lucky in the windows. I think we've seen them on the windows quite a few times. Yesterday, all in, just didn't really work out for them. They're getting swung, getting picked off. Some great shots from Parabellum. So many Leftovers, they could do the same.
Filthy takes a huge chunk of damage there as Fultz just sends a nade into Cigar Shop. Sky's still with that Overwatch on the skylight, making sure that no one's in position to rotate. Fultz now going to go for a little bit of a crouch walk in. He's got the Nook ability activated. He's actually got himself all the way into sight, but what information does he have? SSG, they've just flooded onto Longbar. Kills are going to start to fly through now as Hot and Cold and Skies grab one apiece. Dexter, he's going to be in position to shut Skies down, and he's going to be the sole survivor here for Leftovers. But that plant is going to go down like
right beside him.
Not. Dexter, he's right next to you in the bomb chassis. Fultz with the cover. A scrappy round there. SSG just saying, we are going to shift W ourselves into sight. We are going to prioritize getting that kit down.
Full send, isn't it? That's what the call was. Yeah, just send it. My goodness, SSG, so risky with that play, Ollie. A lot of them grouping up together. It was a 2v4, almost for Dexter. I mean, the diffuser were down right beside him. But thankfully, Fultz is there with the cover. But boy, SSG... It's unlike them, isn't it?
It is. It's not structured, it's not strategic, it's not counterplay.
Is this what they've been working on?
It is just, you know, it's, dare I say it, a little bit Latam-esque, a little bit FaZe-esque.
Don't bring up FaZe, please.
That's the kind of thing that FaZe would do.
I don't want to talk about FaZe.
Not happy with the way they played today, are you?
Don't want to talk about it.
Well, at least they got beaten by your second favourite team.
I didn't know Navi was in LATAM.
Touche, though.
Thank you. Oh my goodness, look at the lineup. SSG, Lion in. So we talked about that playstyle, Ollie, with the aggressive nature. For a Lion in the mix, yeah, sure.
Now are they trying too hard? I kind of liked the last round. It was a bit scrappy. It was a bit all over the place. They got it over the line. You had the Lion into the mix. Things just become even more difficult for leftovers. Let's see if SSG can snag themselves a nice little opener again like they did last time. It was off the back of a nade from the skies. We know nade's in his back pocket this time, though, as he's on the book. First Lion scan will come out. No immediate push off the back of that. Bosco going to get himself onto an upside-down rappel here just to play in and around the white window, but not looking to give too much away. Rampy storms in downstairs, picks himself up a nice little solo. Another Lion kill, another Lion scan, excuse me, off the back of that, just to ensure that he doesn't get pushed as well. But once again, that opening kill hasn't been traded, and it's gone in the favour of SSG.
The SSG looking for the east side take. We've seen a bit of them from this yesterday, where Parabellum, they went up against this. And then you get Skies, though, in the reading, start bucking underneath that main cocktail bar. Need to get in there as quick as you can, because every second does count on Kafe, Ollie. We know that. You don't want to be leaving yourself too late, because then when we start swinging in windows during about the 10-second mark, pre-fires can happen quite easily from the defenders, so the quicker you get in, get these kills, the easier your life will be. So guys, just waiting to think for some information from the drones. It does look as if anyone's in the common positions, Ollie, that we expect to see from the defense. They've actually just left it. Filthy's really the closest person to do anything with denying access into the cocktail bar, but for the meantime, leftovers, I think they're just going to try and play these long angles. Sit back, let SSG have the control, because they have faith that they can retake, I think.
And the worst thing for leftovers to do now would be to go chasing the kills. They just need to try and burn this clock down as much as possible. SSG are playing fairly passively at the moment, and it's almost like they're waiting for leftovers to make a mistake, to get itchy feet and to start making rotations. The Lion scan comes in as the players from SSG hop on through. Bosco, diffuser in hand, could look to try and get it down here, but instead needs to take the challenge. Filthy, he's going to pick himself up too. Rampy and Bosco both fall. Fultz didn't commit, didn't go in at the same time, and is now left up on the roof. Misses the nade, but sees the feet of the Jaeger, gets a second chance. Excuse me, adapt. He is going to fall, but is it going to be meaningful? There's only 10 seconds of this round left, and Fultz is trying to fight his way through. Leftovers, you just got to keep yourself alive here. Don't keep giving yourself up. Skies are going to be inside of the freezer. He'll be finished off, and then Maxley will finally put an end to Fultz's rampage. Leftovers, they're going to grab a round for themselves.
Something happened there in that round. I think it came down to Rampy. I think there was some maybe communication between Bosco and Rampy. We seen Bosco get himself in, swung in, was looking for the plant, but I think Rampy then lost his engagement with Filthy on the top of the stairs. And then there must be some kind of communication, maybe a refrag they were hunting for there. I don't know, but whatever it was, Filthy on that smoke just stood tall, able to get that important kill. Rampy was pushing up in towards white stairs, stopped the defuse going down. Great work from him, and from there, then it's difficult for SSG to get back in, because that's their whole game plan, is to take control of, you know, white stairs area and get that diffuser down.
Yeah, great play from Filthy, as you say. The shotgun played on white stairs was perfect. He obviously navigated the air jabs very well as well, because we saw those get placed at the start of the round. But obviously we didn't see or hear any of those go off, so you can only imagine that he was able to get into a position to shoot it before it detonated. It's thrown leftovers somewhat of a lifeline here. It keeps SSG off of that match point. That all-important 6th round. Now we get to see Leftovers switch things up. They've obviously tried upstairs twice. Won one, lost one. Now they're going to be hitting up their second choice site. It's going to be reading. Fireplace.
Very run-of-the-mill for SSG at the moment. Moving upstairs. Start sweeping throughout the rest of the building. I'm surprised that we're not seeing the pickup of Jackal from SSG, because we know it's an operator that they like to take whenever they're not attacking in towards the top floor. So it's a bit strange not to see it here now, Ollie. Maybe just mixing things up? I don't know.
Yeah, I think quite possibly. SSG have been very fluid in their lineup, and everybody's been playing everything. It hasn't really been too sort of set in stone as to... Yeah, I mean, you just give Bosco whatever he wants.
Oh, Maxley. We didn't see the kill, but we've seen it plenty of times before, Ollie, from the other perspective. That was a good shot, and I think Cotton Call knows it.
Sat down off the rappel. It's a great feeling there as a defender. Maxley will be traded out, though. Rampy upside down will manage to find one onto him. Fultz looking to play a little bit more aggressively here. Bosco taking a bit of damage as well, but Adapt will be the next player to fall. Bulletproof camera removed, but a bit of a worry as to what's going on below. Still 2 C4s in the hands of Leftovers here. They have the information to make good use on them.
This guy's looking to enter in towards the top floor. Dexter will be there, but not for long as he quickly drops down. Just feeling a little bit scared, Ollie, I think. Doesn't want to chance it at the moment, so SSG, they have upstairs control, which is good from them. Only 4 or 5 seconds to go, though, Ollie, so not all the time in the world, but they do have that all-important man advantage. That is the big one. And say that, it's gone. Filthy swings up the white stairs. Rampy gets caught out. Surprised Rampy's let that happen. Isn't that what you should be watching or trying to, inch towards? Is that white stairs?
You'd certainly think so. Obviously, Hot and Cold falling early has removed any ability to get those air jabs out there, and it's made the flanks a little bit more susceptible. Fultz going to try and take advantage, though. Manages to find that man count back. Sky's still upstairs. He gets shut down as well. Bosco picks one up onto Filthy, and it's all down to Butters. Got to try and stop this plant from going down. There's only 3 seconds left. Bosco has the diffuser, but he doesn't have a clue as to where Butters is going to be. Fultz could not provide the cover there. You can see him just get blasted as he tries to make his way through the door. Bosco, no point putting the diffuser down. There's only 2 seconds left. You're going to get swung, my friend. Tough round for SSG.
Butters has no idea how lucky he was. I think one more second and you would probably expect that Bosco would have had him. But Butters just staying alive inside of reading. A great clutch. Just hanging in there. You know that picture of the cat where it's just hanging in there? That was him.
I can imagine what you're talking about, yeah.
I'm sure many people know. Feels as if it was featured in an episode of The Office.
Attackers need to locate and defuse.
I think, not sure.
Such a strange sort of segue there, Demo.
I'm not sure. Can anyone fact check that? It was hanging in there. Was that like on a card or something in The Office? If memory serves me right, I think it is. Was it Meredith's birthday?
Call in.
Was it Meredith's birthday? Someone search it up, please. I'd love to know if I'm right.
Leftovers not giving up without a fight here. Certainly a lot closer than it was previously. You think back to the scoreline at the turn of the half, 4-2. SSG have picked up 1 round so far on Leftovers' defense, but Leftovers have fought back. They've managed to scrape themselves to within 1 round of SSG here. We're going to try down in Kitchen to convert that into a level 5 all. The lineup from SSG. We've got the Ying demo.
It's always a temperamental operator. We see it actually, I think, have a good success rate. I think we've seen Ying work out a lot more than it not working out. I think teams have become quite comfortable with the style that you have to play Ying like. You know, you have to make sure utilities burned, and you just have to commit to it. And I think a lot of it does come down to the Ying player. The Ying player needs to have confidence, so you need to make sure you're putting someone in there who isn't going to shy away from a gunfight, because you are that main driving force. You know, abuse that power off. You can see everyone, but they can't see you. You need to be able to prove that. Fultz, as we know, very capable flat. He can play numerous operators, and I think he'll be well versed in that operator.
Rampy again finding the opener here for SSG. It's meant less and less as the game has developed, but it's still a stat line that SSG are dominating on here. Ooh, Skies. Unfortunately, you've caused Bosco's demise there. You've opened up the window, and Dexter's threaded the C4 all the way up and through. Poor old Bosco just stood out there on the drone. Fultz finds it back. It's the trade over, and will regain that man count for the time being. With your hard breach gone, it's going to make Kitchen a little bit trickier.
Certainly is. Dexter will respond, eliminates the Ying Ollie. Down she goes. That's what I think we wanted to see from Leftovers. Sometimes during their attacks, whenever things are not working out, you need to go and find something, and Dexter's done just that.
It's important to know when that time is as well, and timing it is not as easy as it sounds. SSG is still wrapped up in this vertical control, which is fine for the time being, but there's 50 seconds left. They're going to have to start progressing here pretty soon. Hot and Cold will eventually shut Dexter down. Just gets a little bit too overzealous, peeking onto that main door. Butter's going to be holding the bottom of White Stairs. He can hear the barbed wire. He's had that audio cue, but his call out will have been given now. He's got the DMR, so it isn't ideal for taking on these engagements, especially when you're going up against Rampy and an LMG. Maxi finds one, does achieve the trade, has a little bit of info to work with here. Skies needs to get himself into position, and he will do just exactly that. Inside of the site already, one step ahead. And we'll find the final kill onto the Wamai. SSG put themselves on a match point.
They do indeed. I think Rampy, good round from him. Solid opening. Getting this important kill. You know, Butters, I think Butters, he gets one kill there and run away. That's a completely different round, isn't it? He had two opportunities, one on the gold stairs, one outside the double door. He knew where both of them were. But sometimes that DMR Ollie, it's a difficult beast to tame. And sadly for him, it didn't work out. So yeah, SSG in strong position. One round, comfortable lead as well. Good buffer zone, Ollie. So they can falter if they want to, but would you expect it from SSG at the moment?
Well, there's a 50% win rate on this top floor so far in this game with Leftovers on the defense. So you wouldn't typically expect anything too one-sided. Obviously, we'll have to see how SSG want to approach this one. But as you mentioned, they've got themselves a nice buffer here. And if they can continue to pick up that opening kill, they're going to make things even easier for themselves. The thing that's really piquing my interest at the moment is the proposed lineup that SSG have got selected and now locked in. We're going to be dealing with not only the Lion this time, but they're throwing the whole kitchen sink at it demo. We've got the Amaru, we've got the Ying, and we've got the Capitao. There's four extremely disruptive operators when typically you would expect to see one, maybe two of them per round. Do you think SSG are going to try and finish this the same way that they tried to finish Oregon yesterday? In a hail of flames.
Just full send again, isn't it? I would assume that it's going to be a mixture of Rampy in that window, which I think everyone knew this was going to happen. Really the only viable window that I think you can entry in on as that Amaru. And then it's going to be mixed with probably a skylight drop. You would assume you've got Fultz there positioned with the Ying, with the Gandellas, with the smokes. Capitao can also support with smokes. Let's see what happens. Hot and Cold has the diffuser, so he's in the hot seat. He has to get this diffuse down, so they're relying on Fultz to be that spearhead. And this is what we mentioned last time, Ollie. If you're on that Ying, you need to be aggressive, and you need to be ready to get kills.
It's a very difficult thing to time this. We see the utility go in, the Lion scan comes out, and Rampy flies himself up through the window. Filthy gonna pick up the first kill onto Fultz, but aside from that,
Oh.
we're going to hit a rehost apparently. I'm going to wait for some sort of clarification on that. I was refreshing my feed just to make sure that it wasn't just me. I mean, that's a cliffhanger demo, if ever I've seen one.
It's like Stranger Things. Where do we go? Oh, what's next?
Black
Where do we
Mirror
go?
episode. I am on the edge of my seat. I need to know how that went. It looked like it was going well? Question mark. Well, we will get the game fixed. I'm not entirely sure what's wrong with it. I'm not sure if it was the observer sort of crash. There is an observer crash, or whether it was like a full server disconnect.
Is the team still playing? Is it full?
I would imagine that they're still playing. I don't know. We're waiting for clarification. As soon as we get something from production, we will let you guys know. But for now, there's not a great deal to say. We were just getting ready to jump into.
I just want to know what's happened.
What was built to be the juiciest gunfight of the night, or at least one of them. But yeah, as soon as we get a little bit of info, we will let you know. Aside from that, SSG were on 6 rounds. We saw they had a good little buffer there, a 2-round advantage to try and get that done, and they'd opted for the classic Skylight Rush, Amaru in through Heaven Window. Who knows how it plays out?
It's a tough one to call because those attacks, Ollie, either end up as being just a magnificent piece of work or into the dumpster. That's, you know what I mean? That's where you're at with those types of plays. They're not really an in-between. It's either one or the other. I just don't know. I just have no answers. I'm sorry.
Well, at the moment, nobody has an answer. It seems that we're really flying by the seat of our pants here as to just exactly how that game went. As soon as we get a result, we will let you know. But, I mean, on the face of it, a rush strat like that, you can't really call it either way. SSG could have just been met with a shotgun at every window that they tried to hop into and very quickly dealt with. Or they could have got a couple of lucky kills, managed to get the plant down and kept hold of it in a post. You would at least expect one person to stay up on the roof so that you can at least watch over that planted diffuser. But, you know, that's a bit, it's a bit of a throwback, isn't it? The whole Capital bolts through the skylight. Back in the day, we'd throw a glass into the mix as well. We'd have maybe some Ying Candelas knocking around.
Maybe a Monty, I don't know.
Potentially a Monty, maybe.
Whenever I think of Skylight Kafe, I'm sure many people probably also know this. I always think of the iconic clip where he jumps in through Skylight with the Monty and just plants it and then repels back up the Skylight. That's always one that sticks with me whenever I think of those types of plays. So, yeah, it's so turbulent. You have no idea how those kind of rounds can go.
Well, we've got clarification that we're going to be hitting a rehost. So as soon as we get all the players into the lobby, we'll be jumping back into that. Bit of a strange place to rejoin, but we'll make the best of it. I'm not sure that SSG are going to go for the same strat again.
Yeah, this is the thing now. It's
a bit of a one-time
ruined the surprise.
thing.
They've ruined the surprise.
They've they've let the magic trick out of the bag there, and I think that we're probably going to see leftovers be ready for it. I mean, you could go for the double bluff. The double bluff is you've got to have a real, real confidence in what you're doing if you're going to go for that double bluff demo, because sometimes we do see it.
It's a mental game because you could have leftovers sit there and prep for that rush again, but then SSG do something completely different. So all that setup, all the positions means nothing. Or they could take it as, oh, they'll never do it again. Let's just set up for something else. And then SSG go ahead and do it. But then maybe SSG think, oh no, we'd never do that because they know we're going to do that, so we're not going to do that. But maybe because they know we're not going to do that, they wouldn't expect us to know it, so then we're going to do it, unless that's what they want us to think.
But if they think that we think that they're going to do it, then we think
they wouldn't do it.
They won't do it, but then they do it.
But if they were to do it, but then they didn't do it, you'd look like a mug. So
just as plain and simple as that. You would just literally look like a mug.
To do.
That's this.
That's you. Or that could be it. Could be anyone. It could be SSG. It could be leftovers. We don't know who would end up being the mug.
Well, we could just do this, and I'll like get myself off screen and just leave
Right.
the mug
Put
like.
the glasses on it.
You want the glasses on the mug?
Put the glasses in the mug. Yeah.
The glasses are see-through, so it doesn't really work, Demo.
It's a new low point for you in your career, isn't it, doing this?
Yeah, it really is. I mean, this is rehost time. Let's be honest. It's rehost
also
time on match
half
point.
past one over here in the
half
UK.
past one. True.
You know, we're just chilling.
Can he see now?
But yeah, I mean, again, this is where we need people to phone in. Let us know, how was your day? Let us know. We're here. Welcome.
How do you think SSG's day is going?
I think okay.
It's got to be a tilter. It's got to be a tilter or a rehost at that point.
Yeah. I think if you're SSG, it looks as if you've orchestrated that quite well. Like from our perspective, from what we've seen, the timings were on cue, wasn't it? The Yings, Candelas, Smokes, Amaru, Lion Call all went off at the same time. So it looked good, but sometimes it's not about how you start, Ollie, it's about how you finish.
Exactly. And SSG have still got to finish strong because there's still a map to be won here. We're still inside of map number 1. So you would expect, the teams to be still fresh, still very mindful that there's a full best of 3. Well, there's at least 2 maps of a best of 3 if we need them both remaining. So SSG have surely got to keep themselves, in that mental win state. But for leftovers, I mean, this might be a bit of a lifeline. It's a chance for them to have a quick chat and just discuss, right, how do we want to move forward? We've picked up rounds here. We can take this all the way.
Mm-hmm. Again, you still have for SSG, you still have rounds, don't you? It's 6-4. There's still 2 rounds that leftovers need to get before they go overtime. So SSG still have that bit of flexibility. They have that room to maneuver. If they drop around, that's fine. They can still go there and win the 7-5 potentially. So SSG, I still think, obviously in good shape, still in good standing. One thing as well that I think we noticed from just before the round crashed was Amaru actually went unchecked. Because typically whenever Amaru goes in through that window, we see somebody close with a shotgun, just swings, kills the Amaru, someone downstairs in pillar. Multiple ways that Amaru can get killed right off the rip. From what we've seen from the outlines, it didn't look as if anyone was in a good position to actually stop that Amaru. And if that Amaru is in that position, you can shut down numerous angles. Obviously, the cocktail bar's one. You can have a long angle onto freezer, either freezer doors as well. So that's a key position to be in, and if SSG managed to get themselves tucked in into that corner, they could easily get a plant down because they have so much cover.
Yeah, it's a very common sort of spot to sit in, just on the other side of that heaven wall in cocktail. Typically, you find like a Maestro or something along those lines. There, you can pretty much anything. But Maestro does often find themselves in that spot. And as soon as you get the audio cue, now granted, SSG did a really good job to mask that audio cue. There was a lion scan going on, there was Candelas, there was Capital, there was everything going on. You probably got Skies just dumping a mag into a wall somewhere because he was playing on the sledge and couldn't really add anything to that party. Sure, he could maybe throw a nade or something, but they're trying to mask that sound as much as possible to make it as successful as they could. It's just a shame that we're not actually going to get to see how it all played, Demo, because I would have loved it.
I just want to know.
Can we force the players to do exactly the same again? Is this going to be a situation where they've got to pick the same operators?
You know what we could do? We'll just end a stream and we'll just go and nobody will ever know. It'll be one of the great mysteries.
I thought you were going to say something useful, like we could recreate the moment.
What do you mean?
We'll recreate the moment. We'll get everyone
gentleman's agreement. Gentleman's agreement. Everyone has to be in the same spots, and we replayed around from that second.
All we've got to do is find 5 random people that don't know what's going on, and then it'll be fine. And then the other 5 people know that it's going to be an Amaru rush. It's pretty flawless if you think about it.
We could. I just want to know. That's it. But yeah, still waiting for the rehost. See what happens. So me and Ollie's here. Again, we just need that phone in so people can let us know, how's your day went. It's been a few things happening over here today in the UK.
I've got a bit of something for you, Demo. If you want to go off topic, I've got some riddles. If you want to go off topic.
Oh, Jackie Esports, welcome.
Well, I mean, it's always a little bit of fun, isn't it? Prepared for such an eventuality.
Go on then.
Okay, so this is a riddle for, I would say, it's not quite like a high school or primary school level riddle. Like you're probably in college to figure this one out, maybe.
All right.
So like we're talking average IQ of a sort of average 17 to 20-year-old, which of course you're above, so you should have absolutely no problem. Let me pull up the list.
Not by a lot, though.
What time is it when an elephant sits on a fence? What time is it when an elephant sits on a fence? Anyone in the chat, feel free to participate.
Hammer time?
No, not hammer time.
No, not hammer time, no.
That's a different joke.
No. Time. Why is an elephant sitting on a fence?
What time is it? There's a lot of questions. There's only one answer. Are you giving up?
Yeah?
Give us one more guess. You've not even given me a serious guess yet.
I don't... Like, how do you respond to this? It's going to be such a stupid answer.
Well, then start to think stupidly.
No, I can't do that. That's impossible for me.
Okay, then just start to think.
Again, very difficult task you're asking off there.
Demo. If an elephant is sat on the fence, it is time to fix the fence. The fence is probably broken, mate. We're talking about an elephant here. I can see that you're not impressed. I'm very upset by that. I was hoping that I'd get at least a little bit of a chuckle. Like a little bit of like a sigh, sort of like, oh, go on, like, yeah, you're funny. Like, you know, we'll give you that one.
It annoys me.
Yeah.
I love riddles, but that one's just...
I think you're just mad because you didn't get it.
Yeah, probably.
I think everybody in chat that types them in got it as well. So, well done to everybody in chat. I have just been told that we are approaching getting ready into the game.
Thank goodness.
I'm not entirely sure what the deal is, but thanks for bearing with us during the short break. Obviously, we've got to get all the teams in. We've got to re-enter all of the round history. There is a little bit of a process there in terms of remaking a lobby. But as soon as we get all of the players in, we will rejoin exactly where we left off. Now, whether everybody will have to pick the same operator or not, I would imagine, given that it's a rehost, you would. Now, is that going to put SSG at a disadvantage, Demo? Because, you know, look at what they've got. They've got a Capitao, a Ying, and an Amaru. Mm-hmm. And a Lion. And a Sledge. Like, there's one thing that you can do with that comp, and it is a rush. Surely they can't get away with it again.
Yeah, I just don't know what the logistics is. I don't know what the ruling is here. I have no idea. No idea how we progress now. Is it full rehost, same operators, whole shebang? I don't know. I honestly do.
Full rehost 0-0. Start from the top.
Start from the start. Maybe.
Why possibly? I imagine that we're going to be going in at 6-4. But this has been quite a long break. 10 minutes, serious rehost, a lot of time for the teams to talk.
We haven't done a fill like this in years, it feels like.
I think it shows.
I think we've done all right. For two blokes who are now, we're leaning into the podcast realm.
Welcome to the podcast.
We run out of things to say.
Welcome to the podcast.
Welcome.
To be fair, you didn't get the riddle, which upset me.
Give me another one.
Let me pull up the list.
Take a swig.
We've got to get the coffee in.
It's 1:45. You'll never get to your bed.
Okay, here's another good one.
Okay.
What has many teeth but cannot bite?
Oh, it feels as if I know this one.
I think you should.
Has many teeth but cannot bite.
The thing that I always find difficult about riddles is...
See, I've heard this one before.
But I always find it difficult to remove the obvious from the situation. So as soon as you think about teeth, you think about pearly whites. And then you start thinking about what doesn't bite with them. Like everything that's got teeth bites something, right?
Yeah, but it could be like I don't know, another trick. I'm gonna
Well, it certainly is
false
a trick.
teeth. Is it false teeth?
It isn't false teeth. What I'm going to do is I am going to let everybody know the answer to this riddle after a very short break. We're just having a bit of a trouble remaking the lobby, but we're going to cut to a short break and we'll be back very soon.
Welcome back, everyone. It is Jackie and Jess and Jessie. It's really nice because, you know, sometimes I have to think really hard about your names, but with both of you, I'm like, Jess. And then I'm like,
one.
oh, and maybe sometimes I have to go Jess. So yeah, thanks you guys for making my job a little bit easier. Moving on, we got some Rainbow Six Siege to talk about here. So map 1 Kafe, that was not a bad map, y'all. That was fun to watch. SSG starting very strong, Jesse. They had a great first half, and I think that undoubtedly helped them secure the win there.
Yeah, I mean, Spacestation going back to Kafe, obviously we saw this in their game yesterday against Parabellum, and they did really well in their defensive half on that match as well. The only bomb site that they were dropping against Parabellum was the top floor of Cocktail, but they ran it back against Leftover. They played the exact same strat, but they just held back a little bit. They didn't play as aggressive. They were able to stay a little bit more passive when they ran that strat with, you know, the Castle, the Kaid, the Aruni. They had so much utility like stacked up on their site. I like that they just tried to play it a little bit more passive. They still had, you know, Skies in the bathroom with the super shorty, you know, which is fine. But all in all, I mean, they did play it a lot smarter in my opinion, and I think that's what we saw from like the majority of the bomb sites. There wasn't a lot of change up between this game and their Parabellum matchup, but just a little bit of sharper play meant that those sites that were losing last time weren't a problem over here.
Yeah, and Jess, Leftovers had a little comeback, but they were struggling on defense, so...
Yeah, I mean, that was something that Jesse and I were keeping a real close eye on. I mean, defensive depth on a map like this, where you should have a pretty good defensive half, is something that is really indicative of a team and where they're progressing at the moment. Because we're talking about a Tier 1 team that is highly synergized and someone that we expect to see at Tier 1 events around the world, even, you know, world championships, dare I say. And then we're talking about a team that's really trying to, you know, come together and work out what it is and how they look, the identity and whatnot. So the defensive depth for Leftovers was unfortunately not quite as strong as SSG, but we're talking about different echelons of team, and for them to be able to run it back, win that top floor, then go down and win the middle floor, and then give a pretty good run for the money in kitchen, they're so close yet so far. So I think that scoreline actually for them, they should be pretty proud about it. And even though that we weren't able to sort of catch that last round there, I'm sure they fought valiantly.
All right, well, we got to get to map 2. Dare we say Borg and Snorrigan. We will see if it'll be entertaining, though, because it's actually, this tournament, it hasn't been a bore always, so we shall see. We're going to hand it over to Ollie and Demo. To the Cyberpunk basement we go. Okay, beep-boop. There we go. Bye.
Thank you very much, our wonderful desk of J's. And Jackie's right. It does make it really easy. You just got to remember Jackie and then Jess and Jessie. And you can throw it around whichever way you like. It's so simple. So I appreciate it. We are back. Thank you for bearing with us, of course. We didn't get to see the end of that first map, but we have it on very good authority that the rush strat from SSG did pay off. The only downside was, damn it, we didn't get to see it, but we have another map lined up here, and I'm sure that we will get to see all of the action here on Oregon as we fly into what is going to be the second map here inside of this best of 3.
Well, I am just gutted. I think that's probably the best way. We'll never, one of the biggest unknown mysteries ever in Siege.
But it's going to be up there with the pyramids, the Hanging Gardens of Babylon, Alexander's Library.
You just naming off all the ancient wonders of the world.
And the ancient wonder of the world is going to be round number 8, 9, round number 9. Kafe.
No,
round
number 10, 11. It was round number 11 on.
Never do on maths. Never do on stream math.
Never do on math.
Never do on math.
You're so tired.
Well,
It's
the teams
2
are
a.m.
tired. We're ready to get stuck in. SSG versus Leftovers, map number 2. here. Flores is going to be the first banned operator. Leftovers, they know their stuff. You know, they're coming into this with their eyes wide open.
Yeah, we see Flores work really well on a map like Oregon. You look at positions inside of elbow. Flores can make quick work of the shield in that position. And we've seen SSG. They've shown this already against Parabellum yesterday, was they can play a damn good Flores. And to remove that, yeah, now SSG have to think of other ideas that they can use to burn in through that blue utility. Thatcher, no surprise, Wamai ban. You think about Wamai, we've kind of mentioned him quite a few times, Ollie, haven't we? Just about how good he really is. It was a ban that we seen on Oregon the last time, but it was Parabellum who banned it against SSG. It wasn't really something that we seen kind of put the fear. And SSG, I think, all too much. I think SSG were able to cope with it quite well, weren't they? But see SSG ban it out now is a bit of a surprise.
Wamai's been real hit or miss. You know, it's teams have either not been using them at all, or we've not seen them for an entire map in a best of. Or like this, we see it banned out. And with the removal of the Flores, you remove the Wamai as well, and you do just give yourself a slightly easier time. It's kind of nice back and forth in the bans there of SSG going, well, you're going to take the Flores away from us, we're going to take a little bit of your soak utility away from you. And it doesn't quite equalize it out, but it's not too far off. 2 deployable shields being run here by Leftovers, 2 bulletproof cameras, and of course mirror. That is the trade-off when you do choose to ban something that isn't mirror or Valkyrie. You're going to be giving up one of those 2.
SSG, how will they go into this first attack? How will they set the marker down? Nothing too crazy with the lineup choices. I think everything's quite common we'd expect to see on Oregon. Yes, even the Monty. It's an operator where we see quite a lot whenever you look towards Oregon, especially that basement. It can be great at taking control of Freezer. May it be pushed in towards even Pillar as well. He's very tough, you know, gives good information from Highway, for example, Ollie. So, yeah, strong operator you can bring in Oregon. I think just because Oregon just has so many long corridors, he's just really helpful, isn't he? Just he can walk in, no fear, gain a lot of information, and supply that to the team.
The good old walking drone that is a Monty. SSG are going to try and use that. Nade gets sent down there by Rampy just in an attempt to stop anybody from playing aggressively on the stairs. Fultz initially dips himself down Freezer, maybe just for more of a cursory glance. Of course, one of the things that Monty does really well when a mirror's available is you can just walk up to the mirror window. There's nothing stopping you from just taking that real aggressive stance and being like, well, you're stood behind some bulletproof glass, I'm stood behind some bulletproof glass, but guess what? Mine moves.
Here's a walk-in mirror window. Yeah, it's true. But he needs to get himself in a position. So, Fultz, he was on the floors, wasn't he, a lot yesterday? Pretty sure that was the operator of choice he had, so now he's going to be playing the Flores-like role, but on the Monty. The Monty, equally like Flores, who wants to push in, gain control of elbow. Monty can also do that. Only issue is, though, the smoke canisters. That's going to be Monty's biggest issue. But look at the information he's able to gain. Another Toxic Babe goes out. But Fultz is still alive and well. The third one also gets popped. Takes a bit of damage, but still happy enough to sit back and just wait for it to burn out. And this is really where Fultz has nothing to fear now. All the gas canisters are gone. He can just walk in.
Fultz's job's pretty much done there. You know, he's even been able to burn the ADS, and it's forced Filthy back. No pocket reinforcement left here by Leftovers, and they're not even going to be given a chance to use it. Dexter, however, he's got something else to say. He's going to pick up 3 kills on the round and force Fultz onto the pistol. What a shot onto Filthy. He's going to be the last remaining player alive. Dexter and Adapt both very low indeed. Butters down in action, but Fultz, he hasn't got a lot of information to be going off here, and all he's got is the pistol. Swings and finds one. Dexter, what a round. 4 kills for him there. Manages to salvage something. It's a lot closer than really it should have been. Fultz. It's not the first time we've seen him hit a nutty shot with the pistol, Demo.
It was an almost clutch, much closer than what it should have been, in all honesty, Ollie. My goodness. Honestly, I thought he had it. I thought he was just in the zone. He was in his element. but Dexter had the pre-fire. That was the important thing from Dexter, was able to predict where that Monty was going to be, but, you know, even Fultz almost had the pistol on them as well, and when we talked about the HP of the remaining defenders, it's pistol range. It is pistol range, so... So close, so close. Leftovers, first round, in the books. I don't know what actually happened to SSG. We missed the majority of that, didn't we, Ollie? We were just focused on how that Monty was pushing in towards blue, and it looked a bit of everywhere for SSG. Somebody tried to support the Monty, got shut down. One player came in from Freezer, got shut down. Just a bit of a mess, really.
10 seconds to go.
I think Dexter happened.
5 seconds left.
You know, you look at him and picked up 4 kills. He's done something well, hasn't he? He's been in the right place at the right time.
Locate a bomb and
Good start for Leftovers. Obviously, it's Oregon. You're going to expect them to pick up a good amount of rounds here. They do have quite an interesting setup there inside a games room wall. They've actually left half the wall soft. It's not the typical half. Usually you would leave the left-hand side soft. In this instance, they've left the right-hand side soft. Ooh, bit of opening aggression there, hot and cold. Good job he was looking at that. Still gets chunked down by half. Fultz attempting a bit of a crouch walk in as well. SSG seems to be playing fairly solo here, Demo.
Just seeing what they can get up to. Looking for any picks that they can. This Jackal, it was a big feature that I think SSG went for on Kafe yesterday. No, that was... I was going to mention about the Jackal. It's gone, but I'll finish my point. An operator that we've seen chose a lot by Fultz against Parabellum on the map of Kafe. It worked really well for them to be able to root out some of those roamers. Ain't going to get the same value, though, because he's dead, so you can't use the ability, as we know. So, not a good start from SSG. SSG just very much playing for their ones, aren't they, Ollie? That's what it seems
It
like.
speaks to the solo nature, doesn't it? You see Fultz get taken out. There's no option for a refrag. Butters is going to be inside of Attic. It's mute jammed as well. It's made it more difficult for Hot and Cold to make anything happen on the Nook. Begs the question, why wasn't the Maverick 6 picked into? Maverick's a great option for getting open Attic wall and applying a bit of pressure from tower side. Skies is going to be below, trying to make some vertical holes. Rampy is able to pick up Maxley on that rotation. Maxley sent to the cameras now to provide what information he can. But SSG aren't moving very quickly at all. Nades from below, of course, could be a factor here, but Rampy does only have 2. Filthy. Going to be taken out by Bosco. That main window is being guarded. Bosco does have a bit of a chance onto the player inside of games as well. And Adapt is in fact going to be the next player to fall. Hot and Cold, making good on all of that vertical that Skies has been able to do so far. But Butters with the rotation back inside. Look at all this utility demo that's just gone untouched in this round.
It's a really weird round, isn't it? It's really weird. Just a bunch of nades. Hot and Cold, just he's covered pretty much the entirety of the map, has he not? And he's still alive and kicking. Rampy will find Butters, and that's a 1 versus 2 for Dexter to try and clutch up. Yellow ping will come out, but the drop shot comes in from Rampy. What a weird round, and SSG end up the victors in it. Yeah, I don't know. Just win their ones. That's literally the game plan.
Honestly, and this is not meant in a disrespectful way, it just looked like when you're playing in ranked and you come up against a team that are scrimming in ranked and Leftovers have set up this elaborate stall and SSG are just 5 solo players that have approached it and taken it down. Because SSG didn't play into any of that utility. We had Malusi Banshees, we had Aruni laser gates, there was bulletproof shields, there was ADS, there was all sorts of stuff there to, you know, protect and anticipate where SSG wanted to go. And SSG went, looks a bit busy over that side. Instead, we're just going to rip open the floor, pick up a couple of kills on rotation. We'll lose the opening pick, but we're not too concerned about that. And we're just going to make it work from that point onwards, and we're going to watch Leftovers just get itchy feet and venture out to the bottom of White Stairs where they probably oughtn't be. Bit of a strange one, as you say. But Leftovers more than happy to give it another go. It's going to be a fairly similar setup. I'm concerned at these half-reinforced main walls, though, Demo. Surely the Attic one and the one in games is... I mean, the one in games is fairly typical, but the Attic one's a bit weird.
No, I think it's something that we're starting to see a little bit more common. I think teams are starting to actually extend very heavily in towards the trophy side of things, where you have those attic walls open, you have that big rotation leading in towards the closet, and it just, you want to just get into the faces off the attackers. Don't give them any control at all. Look at the lineup from SSG. We see the Maru come in, we see the Lion coming in. SSG are also looking to get quite aggressive, so I would say both teams are going to be butting heads very early on. Honko just jumps in with really no information, and Dexter gets an absolute freebie. Bosco will fly in one, but there's Dexter again. He's hitting one ollie, and it's only been round number 3. It's round number 3, he's got 8 kills.
Dexter's come alive in this map on Oregon. Certainly wasn't this prevalent over on Kafe. Rampy eventually puts a stop to it, but it takes Finka, the LMG, and a nade to do so. Rampy can now apply quite a lot of pressure through this wall that's been left half soft and has a rotation in it. No clear advantage for one side or another. We're going to see Lasergate start to get reactivated now as Fultz is going to be forced to push through. He's able to burn. Tanks a C4 there as well. Does get away with that one. Rampy does have a couple of adrenal surges left that he can try and use, but he's going to get swung straight onto. Adapt taking the initiative there. Much more willingness from Leftovers to challenge these players of SSG here on Oregon. We didn't see this aggression over on Kafe.
No, we did not, and this is what we were kind of asking for, wasn't it? I like the hold. I think it's good. I want to get into the faces of SSG, get those early picks, really rattle SSG. However, the main man, Rampy, as we know, has that LMG in hand ollie. Certainly make things happen, so don't count SSG out just yet. But Butters, great position. Rampy not ready for him. Tried to go for the flick, but Butters is quicker to the trigger. That will be a 1 versus 3 that Skies has to go through. Just look at the adjustments again. Butters looks as if he's went even deeper in towards the bedroom. There's a swing for Maxley, has the shotgun. Skies should be aware of that, trying to spray with a G8. Neither of them landing their target. Seems to be a matter of time, Ollie, isn't it, before Skies eventually goes down?
Yeah, unfortunate situation for Skies, especially with the Lasergate reactivating there, but even if that hadn't have happened, it would have been a very difficult time for him. It was Butters to be credited with that final kill, not the 2 players that Skies was already in combat with. Again, a little bit of a solo round from SSG. They're not going for, you know, your sort of very default Oregon attacks here. And that's not really a comment on how Leftovers are setting up. It's more the operator selection and the way that SSG are approaching it.
Yeah, SSG, they're just, it's not typical of them, is it? This isn't really the classic SSG that we seen yesterday. It's very much guns up. That's what it feels like to me. Very rushed. You know, I think Hot and Cold kind of summed up quite well whenever he just jumped in for a window ollie right from the get-go. Didn't think twice, just did it. That's not really the style that we expect to see from SSG.
No, and even down to the picks, right? The Amaru pick. Skies pick the Amaru. You see an Amaru on that site and you're expecting someone to fly in through kids.
Fultz is on everything right now as well.
I mean, Fultz is just closing his eyes and making a selection. And, you know, is he lost because of the look of Flores? I doubt it. I think he's just probably having a bit of fun. But Flores certainly would have been something that you would have seen Fultz playing onto had it been available.
It is interesting to see them know that it's going to be that downstairs and it's going to be that basement. Leftovers are going to go there straight away. And they brought the Lion in. You know, we kind of look at that selection from Fultz as that would be the floor, as we know that. It helps them disable the player inside of Blue, inside of Elbow. And they had the Monty in the last round, which was kind of like the substitute, which does work well. We've seen the Monty was able to take control of Blue very swiftly. No real issues. And now they're not going for really anything. Sure, maybe change the Monty up, but not even like an operator. You could make an argument for it. Yeah, that's actually really strong for clearing that Blue. So I wonder what their avenue is. Maybe it might be just a straight laundry freeze, or maybe just full send it down that side. I don't know.
Rampy seeing if he can find some success in the rear stairs. Likely going to throw the nade down. Hot and Cold is in a position to assist here, but I don't think they're aware that there is actually a player that has just rotated. Rampy actually going to pick up 2 kills with the nade. Catches the rotating player as well as the one playing aggressively on the stairs. Fultz snags himself one as well. Not even seen half the round demo, and more than half of the forces for leftovers have been taken out. Dexter, he's been the man of the game so far, but even he will have a tough time to fight back against this. Adapt and him looking to try and get aggressive, see if they can find a little bit of a pick just to ease some of this pain. Fultz, tagged up by half, pops the lion scan in order to not get pushed even further. He knows that someone's regressed up to the top of those freezer stairs. That somebody is going to be Adapt, and that someone is sent to the cameras along with the rest of his team. Dexter, you've had a great game so far. You found yourself 1 here, but it will be an ace clutch if you were to pull this off. Activates the glasses, picks one up onto Skies. Doesn't anticipate hot and cold to peek round from the deployable shield. The attackers becoming the defenders there. We know it's a powerful position for the defenders. Well, guess what? Equally as powerful for the attackers.
Yeah, much better there from SSG, wasn't it, Ollie? It was clear cut. We knew exactly what the game plan was. I will say that maybe leftovers overstepping their boundaries a little bit. Obviously, that double nade kill, it's always rough to come back from that. You know, Adapt then trying to get something back in the board. But that was just an over-aggress, really, from leftovers. You still have to remember what that bomb site is. It's not a roamer-friendly bomb site. It is anchor-favored. So then why not just play the favored playstyle? Why not play anchor?
I mean, the whole point of basement is, we spoke about it yesterday, there's nothing below you. There isn't an attacker that can burrow yet. Moleman hasn't been released. So, just on that basis alone, it's a heck of a lot safer than anywhere else, because you can only worry really about the stairs and the hatches. There's no destructibility from the roof.
Moleman isn't here yet. Next season.
Next season, gonna get Moleman, I'm sure. You know, someone that can burrow into the unbreakable surfaces on a siege map.
If you've seen The Incredibles, you'll be well familiar with what he does. Is it? Wait, no. What's that? What's like the mole person in The Incredibles called? What's he called? Hold on.
Ant-Man? I don't know.
Incredibles Mole Man. The Underminer. What a name.
That's a great name.
The Underminer.
I'd love that. Our leftovers going to play a little bit more reserved here. You would expect them to. Still on track for a reasonable split here. But Rampy's just too good with the nades. How many times do we see Rampy get an opener, or SSG as a whole pick up an opener with a nade? It's such a free and safe way of picking up that opening kill as well. Even if you destroy the drone that's gotten you the information, it's probably quite worth.
A lot of nade kills in this series, hasn't there been? A lot of nade kills. You look at yesterday's games, Ollie. Wasn't that many. This one, take your pick. Honestly, take your pick. SSG just playing this slow game. Oh, I thought Hot and Cold almost missed it, but he will secure the kill. Great position to be in. You know, opening that wall. There's no way Maxley's going to be expecting that angle to be open whenever they, of course, have reinforced that. So yeah, great pick there from Hot and Cold. And once again, SSG, very healthy lead now.
It begs the question as why that's been reinforced as well, because typically you're going to bring a Maverick if you're attacking the basement, and Maverick's perfect for just putting a small line in something. It doesn't make a lot of sound. It's not like an exothermic going off or even a X-Kairos pellet, so you're really doing it to yourselves at that point. You then look to peek up and just play a little bit too aggressively. Again, we've spoken about this. This site is very defensible. You've got to play into the power positions that the site naturally has. Got to mold that landscape into something that you can work very well with and not just keep challenging things. Filthy. Next player to fall. Fultz is really having a good time with that DMR on Lion. Dexter. You just don't feel like his team is fully around him right now. Still 10-3, still really popping off, but is he going to be the difference maker here? Goes for the swing, gets taken out by Hot and Cold. Adapt, repeaks, does manage to finish the job. He's being faced with a plant. C4 over the top is not going to be enough. Skies. This is going to be a fantastic kill. doesn't get a lot of a glimpse there. Very good time. If that C4 goes off, almost certainly would have stopped the plant from going down, and SSG would have had to readjust. But Skies, with that pressure coming in from that laundry side, is going to be enough. 3-2 SSG.
Just in the nick of time. Great angle there from Untitled. Great kill. Almost missing the first chance, but gets the swing in the second, as we know. Just clinical from SSG again, isn't it, Ollie? Just right down to just the timings of everything was picture perfect. So Leftovers suffered 2 rounds there in a row that they've lost on that basement. So I'm gonna go back up to the top floor, and this was again just another weird round, wasn't it? We've seen that aggression from Leftovers. They were playing that very heavy playstyle of don't give SSG any control whatsoever, and SSG played into it just a little bit, didn't they?
5 seconds to insertion.
Yeah, SSG have looked quite well disciplined attacking onto the basement.
Locate and defuse a bomb.
And it's almost been the flip reverse, because we've seen Leftovers look very impatient attacking the basement. And then when you look toward the top floor, SSG have not really had the same level of discipline or patience, because they've been playing this sort of solo game that we've commented on. Filthy going to pick himself up a cheap opener. Hot and Cold going to be taken on out. Not entirely sure where that took place, but there's at least 2 nades gone in what is, for SSG standards, quite a light nade round. Only bringing 4 and only going to have use of 2.
Loading new magazine.
Get the drones in. Figure out where these Leftover players are going to be stationed. I mean, Leftovers have been very loose a couple of times. You see the overpeaks come in.
Tracking drone.
And it does cost them a few times. And you can just see the difference, you know, a young gun team, Ollie, they've got that itchy trigger finger, haven't they? Whereas SSG, just patient. You know, that's the best way to kind of sum them up. Just shows, you know, the new guards versus the old guard, isn't it?
It's that clash of styles. You know, SSG, you look at these players and you think about players like Bosco and Skies. They've been around for just such a long time. Fultz, Rampy, Hot and Cold as well. You know, it's a story.
Cold's been around for donkeys as well.
Yeah. I mean, I just think back to, you know, Skies and Bosco Xbox days.
Mm-hmm.
They're 2 that really stick in my mind. But there is certainly a bit of a difference.
Yeah.
Great kill there from Rampy. So consistent on the nade. He's got the nade timing down to an absolute T.
It's great to see. I mean, that's what you need to... obviously, we don't want to praise him too much because that's his job at the end of the day.
It is his job, yeah.
Well done. He's done his job. What can you say? Bolts, that big old DMR is really making it sing today, Ollie. Rampy with another one. Just keeps on piling the kills up in the corner. He's 10-2 right now. You know, it's a 3 versus 2. Adapt and Butters, what can they do? I mean, Butters has definitely kept himself in there with that DMR also. Adapt trying to play that long angle. Sees Bosco skirt around. A great shot from Adapt. Rampy creeping up the white stairs will be eliminated. And both players stacked up in the double window. What are they going to go for? The flashbangs have to be good now. They have to be able to clear out these lines of sight. Butters will try and dodge one, and in goes Bosco into the plunge. Will try and get this diffuser down, so all pressure on the Skies. He has to have the cover. Has to make this happen. Adapt, I don't think he knows he's in the double window. Now he does know. Diffuser will be planted in a horrible position though from Skies. There's no way he can deny it. Has to jump in, has to take the kills. The diffuser's gonna be stuck, but no, Adapt comes off at the perfect time. SSG fumble the diffuser. And Leftovers secure the round win. A great 2 versus 3 from Leftovers there.
Leftovers doing a really fine job there. As you mentioned, it was a less than ideal plant spot, but I think both teams really lacking information in the dying seconds. Rampy getting a bit unfortunate as he approached the top of those white stairs as well. Adapt was such a nice kill. You can barely see Rampy due to the, you know, sort of blue outline or the red outline, whichever one it is. You know, when you really see those fine pixel shots, you can almost barely make out the difference. These players have it down to a T. Leftovers have pulled that back, in my opinion, Demo. 3-3 split, they're going to be fairly pleased with that.
Yeah, pretty happy, I would say. Good stuff, good stuff. Let's see how they do on the attack now. It is probably the least favored side on Oregon, I would say. I think defense is probably where teams are a lot more comfortable with in Oregon. But still, a good half nonetheless. SSG have their work cut out for them now. Rampy on a tear, but other than that, there ain't much you can really sing about. Sky's a rough opening half from him. 1 and 5 at the moment, Ollie's. Pull out the Ella. Is the shotgun attached with that? I assume it is, because he's running around with a pistol.
I'd hope so.
Oh, it's a Scorpion.
Oh, he's not gone for the Titan Killer. Well, we do like to see the old Ella shotgun from time to time. It can be very effective, especially when looking to challenge or play an elbow or try and play aggressively on some stairs. And quite a few problems to solve. Filthy, he's got somebody in his sights. He knows that there's at least one insider security, but does he know that there are two? Dropping through the hatch as Rampy and Fultz get themselves out of dodge. Their job has been done. They've just caused a little bit of distraction there, but not looking to hold on too heavily to that mid floor.
Filthy has to be careful. That shotgun at the bottom of the stairs. How do you approach that? I mean, he just shouldn't approach it. Skies has that shield, quite aggressive on towards bunker. So I think Leftovers trying to figure out what they want to go for here. Ollie, it looks to be more of a, I'd say what, more laundry freezer side to take. It seems to be Fultz will find one. He played that position so well yesterday, Ollie, just underneath the hatch, doing so well in that position.
Toxic Babe canisters to cut off any attackers moving down those freezer stairs as well. Dexter is going to find one onto Bosco. No more smokes in this round. Still a mirror window that you're immediately faced with. Leftovers don't really want any part of that. Need to start making pressure and progress elsewhere. Still with Skies playing in bunker, Rampy on pillar. There's a lot left to do here inside of this round. You can just see that slowly starting to find our final attacking push positions for Leftovers. Bit of presence inside of Laundry. Players rotating into bunker as well. Just look at all the utility they've still got to get through here, Demo.
There's Skies, the Scorpion, holding things down, and Leftovers. I think they're just lost now, Wally, aren't they? They don't really know what they want to go for. Every avenue just seems to be cut off by these SSG players. Dexter goes down, Rampy sees to that. That's a 2 versus 4. I mean, as soon as Adapt drops that hatch, he's a goner. He's done. Hot and Cold will have a DC, but you would expect SSG still have enough, and Adapt gets shot in the back, riddled with bullets. Rampy finds Filthy, and there's Fultz with the final kill off the round. So we will have a rehost, but still SSG managed to maintain the cruise of victory in that round, and now we move into round 8 with SSG in the lead.
SSG are going to be pretty happy with the way that went there. Lost. Certainly the way that Leftovers looked. It's not ideal when you see a team that struggles to deal with deployable shields, laser gates, ADSs, and you've already lost your nades. You've brought 4 smokes. Got to question 4 smokes, like, really? You know, flashes are a good option. You know, you can use the smokes to burn things, sure, but you're going to get fewer smokes than you would flashes. So if you're really going to try and get, you know, burning things, you know, sure, bring smokes for a plant or bring them for a little bit of cover. But realistically, you've got to question where that utility is going, especially when you're left with essentially desperate hatch drops to try and make something happen. And SSG just happy to sit back. Only a brief break there, as it was only a pause. Hot and Cold has got himself back in, and we are ready to rock and roll. Round number 8, and we head upstairs.
think one thing that Leftovers got caught lacking a little bit was that engagement from Faults underneath the freezer hatch, Ollie. We seen them do that plenty of times yesterday, and sadly for Leftovers, they fell into that same trap. And I think whenever you lose that first man on an Oregon, similar to what we kind of seen a couple of times on Kafe, where Leftovers would lose that opening engagement, and SSG would just play patient, and then Leftovers would stumble, maybe panic a little bit because they don't have that man advantage coming back in their favor. And then that time starts to just chew away at them, and then they're left with, you know, last-ditch efforts, which are not the most favorable positions to play.
Well, let's see if they can get their act together here. They've brought a very different lineup. It's much more nade heavy, 6 nades. The Zephyr and the Hibana. They do have that potential to obviously breach. They're going to try and no doubt breach in to either games or in through attic. But they've also got the ability to rain hellfire from below with those vertical nades. That's going to be their initial focus here, as we see Maxley getting himself in on this west side. It's not going to be given away entirely for free, though. SSG body's going to be downstairs. Dexter knows this. Ping information coming out for him here as the drones do slowly work ahead. No one looking to try and make this charge.
Taking their time. Not wanting to give away those opening picks. Which has probably been, I think, what Leftovers have struggled with. I think SSG a lot stronger in those openings, I think, stat-wise, Ollie. So Leftovers have always kind of seemed as if they've been playing from the back foot, always playing from behind. Just maintain that steady course. Look for these picks whenever they come. Get the drones sent in. Now, SSG, they're very stationary teams sometimes, aren't they, Ollie? They like their set positions. Just get the utility in, get the nades in, and they can't do much against that.
You've got to get in and amongst them and really disrupt them.
Get that cat.
He's not in a bad position here. Top of white stairs. I don't think anyone really knows that he's there. Nades are going to start to come through as well. Fultz chunked down significantly as these nades do damage. Butters is going to be credited with that one. Bosco as well. Only sitting on a slither. Adapt. Holding that cover in fire, but it's going to be filthy to fly himself in. Got control of master bedroom here and has ping information to work from. It is all going to result in a trade, however. Still, advantage leftovers here as Adapt is going to finish Rampy off. So much damage from that big window. Bosco somehow has managed to stay alive, but not for long. And Nade sails on in. Those vertical nades, they will get you.
Yeah, Leftovers, better game plan. I think during the round, they knew what they wanted to go for. They seen the setup from SSG over towards that extension with Trophy. They just ignored it, didn't they? They said, okay, you can have that. We'll just walk up the white stairs, which you don't have control of, and then just nade below because they're not holding towards kitchen. That's something that we see a lot more, I think, from teams is you extend downstairs in the kitchen, isn't it, Ollie? And you have that extension denies the attackers moving in below and nading the players inside of kids. So I just think Leftovers have read into that and just said, okay, you can do that, we'll do this instead.
Good adaptation from Leftovers. Leveling things up at 4-4 here. We've definitely got a game in our hands. I was a little bit concerned at the start of this one, but they've kept on pace. Could we be about to see equal splits? 3-3 each half demo? Maybe send us into an OT? SSG are going to have to do something significantly different here. The changes that have come through, most notably the Banshee being brought out from Rampy. It's a great counter to anybody just getting free passage up those white stairs. Also can slow that progress somewhat in through the west side, which is undoubtedly what Leftovers are going to be going for here. Those vertical nades proved so valuable to them previously, and that's what they're going to be going for again.
Dexter, what is he up to? He's looking for something. That's that drone. Don't really want him to do anything with it. Leftovers again, similar idea. Move in, get the nades. Of course, that switch up though from SSG. They've moved across all that utility that they set up in towards Trophy. Instead, the more typical kitchen hold. Oh, Butters, I thought maybe was going to get caught out there, Ollie. It was a nice attempt there by Fultz. Dexter finds Rampy. We know Dexter was sniffing around down in that bottom right stairs for quite some time, and he will find his man, find his kill. Fultz is going to try and get a kill back. Goes with a swing with a shotgun. Takes a hefty amount of damage. Rotates over towards that security door. Another nade gets tossed in. Just so many nades, so much utility from Leftovers. I would say that SSG, they've done a better job this time, haven't they, Ollie? They've wasted a bit more time.
Yeah, it's been a little bit easier for them to keep control for a bit longer. There's still imminent threats, though. It's Filthy. He's made his way in through Trophy. More nades from below. This time, Skies are going to be there ready and waiting. Can now try and hit that rotation. Get himself back into sight. SSG, they've only got one player currently on site, as Fultz is still downstairs as well. Maxley kind of stuck between a bit of a rock and a hard place, but Dexter finds Fultz. The nade forces him down the hatch, and Dexter was waiting to catch. 3 kills on the round for him now as he finally shuts Skies down. The rotation back onto site unsuccessful. Now we can see that the diffuser's cold here. Bosco, 1 versus 2. We've spoken about him before. He had a fantastic clutch on Kafe. It was on much different circumstances. It was a lot shorter on time. Here, Leftovers can try and make this approach. You can see there's a bit of drone work going on. Going to swing and find the kill onto Dexter, breaking these down into 1 versus 1s. At the top of White Stairs, he's going to be going up against Filthy with the F2. But how much info does Filthy have? Bosco, happy to drop back. Red ping's being provided here. Could maybe look to try and use some of the vertical angles. Goes for a bit of a flick shot. Doesn't manage to make it land. Still, information being called out here. Bulletproof camera inside of sight is really proving its worth. As Filthy has collected the diffuser. 4 seconds left. He's got no option but to try and get this down. Bosco, he's played this beautifully. Waited for his time to strike. Doesn't want to give that death away. Filthy instead comes off the plan. He knows what's to be coming if he continues to hold F there. Bosco, another classic from him. 1 for the archives demo.
Yeah, just has to lie in wait in those final few seconds. But like we mentioned, Ollie, it's every day. He just breathes those clutches in him, doesn't he? SSG take the lead 5 rounds to 4. You look at Leftovers and how they attack that. You know, it was the correct way, the correct approach. I just think they needed to be a little bit more aggro. I think possibly send 1 man down green. That probably would have helped them a lot. I think if you try and spread your forces out a little bit, have somebody coming from the backside, you would have no issues with taking control of Kitchen from that perspective. Oh dear. I see an operator, I'm not happy.
What's to do? Oh, it's your favourite.
Nope, not my favourite.
10 seconds to go.
1 off?
Nope.
Second favourite. Second favourite at least.
Nope.
Third?
No. Nope. Nope.
4th?
Just keep this.
And defuse the bomb.
I don't like to chank it at all. I just look out and think, what does he do?
I think it's a level of disrespect from Skies to play Tachanka when you've got Bosco on smoke. You've got arguably one of the best smoke players of all times, and you're feeling the need to, like, double down on that job.
The reason why I don't like to chank it is the amount of times where I've seen somebody use the gadget, use the Molotov launcher, and someone just sprinted through the Molotovs and just shot them in the head. It is unbelievable. It's just too clunky for me. It's too clunky.
And especially when Goyo exists in their current state.
Rework it so he froze Molotovs.
What, actual, like, glass bottles full of petrol and flame?
Yes. Because that means he's not vulnerable.
Yeah. I'm glad to see SSG have brought the Goyo. I think that's something that Leftovers could have done a lot more of. I don't believe they played Goyo at all. It was something that I did sort of cross my mind when they were on the defense. Goyo great for that area denial. And SSG have tripled down on it now. And you can, you know, with Goyo, no deployable shield anymore, just the Hot Pocket. You can make it work. Couple that with the Tachanka, the Molotovs, couple it with the smoke, the Toxic Babe canisters. More often than not, going to have a pretty tough time as an attacker trying to push through all of that. And when you're already known for being a little bit slow, it's going to make things even worse. Fultz picks up a very important kill. Dexter 15 and 8 so far. Really picking up a majority of these kills. Players like Maxley, Filthy, they've all been relatively quiet here on Oregon. It's been on Dexter to pick up a lot of those important frags. And without him, other players are going to have to step up.
Attackers now starting to edge their way in towards Freezer, but there's the Flames starting to cut them off for the meantime. A lot of them stacking up in towards Freezer, 3 of them at least, so now they're thinking, okay, maybe we need to think of another avenue, another plan of attack. Maxley slowly but surely creeping his way up now towards the lockers, but as you can see, SSG, we know how patient they can be. Maxley will take the plunge, and he goes in towards Freezer, will pop a canister, also finds the Goyo. Fultz found Butters though, and a great swing from Fultz again. 3 kills in the round. Filthy tried something dropping towards the back, and Adapt all by himself gets caught in the smoke, pushes in, and there's Skies. The Tachanka does get a kill. SSG storming away now, Ollie. Good fashion, good shape. SSG looking hot.
The savior of the round was the Tachanka, of course.
No.
Guys picking up that all-important final kill. I don't think he could have done it with anybody else, if I'm being entirely honest.
He sat behind a shield with a gun. Anyone could have done that. Anyone.
Good attempt from Maxley. I really thought that Maxley, I mean, you know, you give him that engagement to play out 3 or 4 times over, he probably wins it 50% of the time. It was real coin flip stuff. But SSG, overall, too coordinated there to deal with. 6-4. They're going to switch things up, take us into meeting and kitchen, see if they can't close out Oregon and this best of 3 here and now.
SSG, same scoreline as what they were in Kafe. Does that mean it's going to be a game crash?
10 seconds to insertion.
I'd rather not.
But it could happen.
5 seconds
Let's cross our fingers. We're going to be fine.
Could happen. SSG going for the meeting hold. Extension towards the top floor. That's kind of expected, isn't it, Ollie? We see a lot of teams try and hold on towards Attic and then towards Kids as long as they can. I wonder how Leftovers are going to approach that. I think we see usually more teams just like to extend in towards Big Tower, just take control of that side of the map, and that's really it. No real interest in contesting Attic, mostly because you can hold the players over towards Kids, over towards Attic, simply just by opening up the other Attic side, isn't it? That's kind of how you play that. Good opening pick, though, from Leftovers. Taking down Bosco, we know how much of a nuisance he can be. If you give him that ability, just to sit, lie and wait, in the final few seconds, he can easily clutch against you.
Is that what happens when Bosco plays anything but smoke or mute?
Good point.
Bosco on Jaeger just gets caught. He's like, oh, I need to remember how to do this.
It's not for him.
give me an impossible clutch with 5 seconds left, and I'm your man. But the start of the round, all this space, all this.
What's a roam? What is a roam?
Yeah.
That's what he's asking himself.
Who is Rome?
Where is Rome? He just goes, I thought that's a city.
Beautiful city.
Fultz.
He's going to respond. Managed to take down Butters there. Adapt. Just have that long angle. These Osa shields are providing a bit of value here for Leftovers to play off. Got some nice long lines of sight there.
And open up that wall as best as they can. Ramp B, seeing somebody, goes for a quick peek, but nothing's happening at the moment for them. SSG again, happy enough to play that patient game. Nothing comes off at the moment. Like I said, Ollie, these shields being set up just gives the attackers a bit more survivability, gives them more chances to swing. It looks as if maybe they're going to try and open up the other side of the wall using that Thermite charge. In goes a nade. Rampy has to try and dodge, but he will get pushed into the cross hairs of Filthy, who takes him down. 3 versus 4 now with 50 seconds to go. SSG on the back foot. I wonder if we're going to see anyone maybe try and attempt the retake upstairs, Ollie. There is still one player stuck inside of Kid's bedroom and could easily rotate in towards attic. It's just a question of, are leftovers in a position to stop that from happening?
Well, they do have the Osa shields, but you can't sit behind an Osa shield and win the round. You've got to get active. That's what Filthy's doing right here. Hot and cold, trying to make something happen here from the attic. Will 2 be taken down. The plant is going to be going down now. Fultz finds himself one. Adapt comes off for a time, but he's going to reattempt. The plant going down inside of the kitchen. Nothing really for Fultz to do to try and stop this. Finds himself one, but leftovers, they hold on. Manages to get that final kill. The plant going down as well. A good end there for them inside of that round, recognizing meeting was just too much of a hot topic. Not able to successfully get that plant down in there and pivot into the kitchen to get the job done instead. Leftovers. Chance to try and bring this to an overtime. They only need one more round.
Only one more. Take it to OT. SSG caught lacking there on the tertiary bomb site. Just a few simple picks. I think it was a good play rooting out, ramping on that smoke. I think that was a very important kill, wasn't it? Get the nade underneath that drone hole, get it rolled in, push him out of his safety corner, and from there, whenever you lose that main man who's kind of there to hold back the first wave, it's difficult for SSG.
Let's see if SSG can get this one done in regulation then. Of course, the winner of this game advances through into our grand finals for North America on Sunday.
Seconds remaining. 5 seconds to go.
See if SSG are going to be that first team locked in.
Locate a bomb and defuse it.
There's still the option of a theme park here, Demo. It's not felt like it for the majority of this map, but as we approach
Look at Dexter.
6-5 scoreline, it becomes a little bit of a reality.
16 kills for Dexter. I'm surprised I haven't made a Dexter's Laboratory pun yet.
Are they the ones that are trying to take over the world? Pinky and Dexter?
Get out.
Is that not the plan?
Leave.
He
Leave.
goes, what's the plan today? He goes, we'll do what we do every day.
No. 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 Stop.
Wrong cartoon?
Yes.
Apologies.
You should be. So, anywho,
A bomb has been located.
SSG. Extension downstairs is where they will try and hold again. Making sure they can control that downstairs portion, take it away from the attackers more importantly. We've seen how deadly the nade kills have been during this series, and I think leftovers from below, they've been scary. They've been able to use utility very, very well. We'll talk about the nades. They start rolling in now. Dexter trying to see if you can find a pick, but nobody at the moment from SSG is there. Look at the Azami, look at Rampy looking for something. Oh, Butters, he's in a ponytail, but that was it.
Azami's fantastic for holding up here. You can just create all of these pockets of safety. Give so many little mini problems to be solved. Leftovers are just like, well, realistically, what do we try and do
We're not
to
wasting
deal
nades
with
on
that?
That's the way they
Exactly,
look
what
at
are you going to do? You're going to waste nades? You've not got, well, you have got the sledge, but you're going to rotate the sledge all the way around just to deal with a little bit of that? Butters has got his eyes set elsewhere. Puts a little bit of damage in onto Fultz. Leftovers are dangerous. They do get themselves into horrible positions where they can just crouch walk their way in. Maxley is going to be holding on through into Trophy. Does start to get chunked down a little bit, however. Butters still conscious that Rampy could be inside of Tower as the Toxic Babes now start to deny some of this attacking push. Dexter eventually will finish Rampy off, but a lot of the damage has been done. The refrag comes in there from Fultz as he picks up his second. Kills continuing to fly. Filthy, he's got few options. He has to try and get himself on in. He'll be taken down at the top of White Stairs. Adapt, he's inside of the smoke. He too finished by none other than Bosco. SSG, they are going to take the win here on Oregon. That concludes the series. No third map required, Demo. And they are going to be our first team from North America locked into our grand finals on Sunday.
Are we surprised? It's SSG at the end of the day, Ollie. We know how good this team is, and they're just showing it again here today. Good fight, though, has to be said from Leftovers. A couple of things probably I'd pick up from Leftovers is I think the utility usage is very strong. You know, good team who can get those nades in. Dexter seems to be lively as this kind of new player. You know, we've seen Filth, we've seen Butters before inside of NAL, but the other three are very unknown to us, so it's good to see a good glimpse of these young players coming in. So I think they'll make a decent dent into the CL, Ollie, if they can just refine some of the mistakes that they made.
Absolutely, and it's great experience for them. You know, they've just gone toe-to-toe with SSG, and they've got to practice that, to feel what it's like. They've gone through the rite of passage to get naded by Rampy and clutched out on by Bosco. Like, these are things that they're going to have to get used to if they are going to be successful players. They've certainly given a good account of themselves tonight. I think we maybe got to see, the nerves maybe get to the better of them a little bit at the start of Kafe. They were very slow. They were a little bit lackluster in some of those pushes. There was a hesitance to push. And on Oregon, that was almost entirely gone. We saw them really trying to make those plays and be aggressive. And that's what we really asked of them. And you can't ask for much more than that. Almost managing to cinch it out into an overtime, but just not quite. SSG, a little bit too strong today.
Yeah, I think SSG looking in good form. I think they're going to be the favourites no matter who they'll be playing next in the grand final. Obviously, they get the break day, don't they, now? So they can sit back and watch who it may be. But yeah, I think SSG always going to be the favourites. And we'll see how they go from there. But good performance from them today.
Absolutely. That's going to do it for us here tonight. We're going to throw you back to our wonderful analyst desk, and they're going to break that one down.
All right, thank you so much, Demo and Ollie, and fantastic job casting as always. But as they were saying, let's bring it back to the analyst desk. And Jesse, honestly, I think the Demo said it perfectly. Basically, it's SSG, doing SSG things, and they did it in 2 maps and looked pretty strong.
Sure. I mean, certainly to start with, I really liked SSG's attacks, right? I think that they had a lot of good bottom-up pressure. They kind of were getting caught off guard by some aggression from Leftovers right at the first couple of rounds, those first 3. It felt like sometimes SSG were just not prepared for the swings when they would come out. But they adapted pretty well, and they were able to kind of bite that back in that second quarter. But I really also was impressed with Leftovers on their takes and in general this game. I thought that they put up a really, really good fight against SSG. Dexter's going to be the player that everybody talks about through this match. He played phenomenally, finished with a ton of frags. He finished really, really highly. So I thought he had a big impact. I also thought Filthy did pretty good on some of those defensive paths, so I do want to shout out somebody other than just the man who dropped dozens of kills. But no, ultimately I thought the pushes were pretty strong. There were a lot of big clutches towards the end of that really gave SSG the edge, but it was a competitive match for sure.
And Jess, talk to me about Leftovers a little bit. It's actually interesting. SSG were pretty dominant. I feel like they were coordinated and confident, but there were definitely points where Leftovers had them on their toes, especially in that second map. I mean, it wasn't a stomping by any means.
No. I think this entire series probably says more about Leftovers than it does SSG. I mean, SSG is the expected team to win. That is something on paper, in reality, in practicality that you should expect from a team of that caliber and with that kind of experience. I think that this just says a world of wonders about Leftovers. I'm really excited for them. You can probably hear the excitement in my voice because as a bit of a Butters fan, you see him come out of the works there and you're like, yes, do well, my man, do well. But beyond that sort of fandom that I have, I definitely think they put things on show that you can be proud of, and a team that has rookies that just thrown in the mix with them, it can be so hard to coordinate of having experience, wealth of knowledge, and then try to impart that on new players can oftentimes be really, really difficult because you're picking up players who aren't just fresh out of the woodwork. You're picking up players who have played this game for thousands of hours. They have their own, worked in habits and rituals that they themselves prefer to do, and that's really hard to work into a team. So I hope that they keep up with what they're doing, and I really liked a lot of their fundamentals. I think a little bit of polishing on the defensive side, then start to work on the attack. These little step-by-step things, honestly, they looked really good, and I really can't wait to see more.
Yeah, not a bad showing from Leftovers at all, and it's really been a fantastic day. And for all of you watching at home, we want to just do a quick recap and take you all through it. So, boop. Let's get the brackets going here, and we shall begin with the EU bracket. So, Jess,
yes,
wild, going wild. I had to,
Yeah. I was so thoroughly impressed by Victus because I actually thought Wild was like really on the up and up. Like upper bracket finals there, I was like, okay, out of those two, like my money's on Wild, but Victus gave them such a run for their money. And I tell you what, two styles clashing there. Do go back and watch it. It was like Victus sweaty, droning everything, clearing the map from left to right, doing everything by the book and making sure that they get control. And then Wild swinging, doing wild things as Wild as expected. So it was really chaotic to watch. It was really fun. I want to see that chaos go up against I want to say Rogue. Like, I want to see Rogue push it up there and go up against Wild because we know that there are some fraggers on Road, Spoit. And I want to see how that goes head to head with Wild because, like, that is a clash, like, I would pay really good money to see. So that's going to be exciting when we do get the lower finals tomorrow because it's a break day for Wild. They get to watch that match. And that is the one where we've got to see Rogue come out on top if they really want to show us what they're made of.
And let's talk about Latam a little bit, Jesse. MIBR defeating FaZe in 2. That first map was probably one of the harsher stompings I've seen in a while, just being honest.
It was a fast day for South America. I mean, MIBR started off with a 7-0 over FaZe Clan, and certainly map 2 on Bank, FaZe fought way, way harder. They managed to pull it back and almost managed to take the win over MIBR. But regardless, a decisive victory and a historic one for MIBR against a rival that they typically can't really hold their own against. And I think down to the lower bracket as well, Escalina to Boo Boo's little school, taking down Furious Gaming. That's a big win for them. That's honestly a team that everybody's talking about in the Tier 2 of Brazil. Many people have said now that this looks like the most promising roster in Challenger League / Tier 2 for Brazil. So really excited to see what they can do. I think it speaks a lot to their ability to be able to so dominantly beat Furious, not just 2-1, but 2-0 as well. They get the rematch against FaZe Clan, and again, that'll be a tough game, especially going back against an opponent you already lost to. We'll see how well they can adapt. We'll see how much the analysts work from their coaching staff is able to put in the work there. But should be a fun game tomorrow for those two.
Yeah, and we just wrapped up NHS, SSG securing the W against Leftovers. So let's roll up that bracket there and break it down.
Yeah, I mean, if you weren't tuning into the whole SSG Leftovers just then and the pandering to Butters, just rewind a little bit, you know, that'll give you everything you need. But you can see the lower finals there. That's what tomorrow will bring us, and that's where we probably really need to turn our attention. Leftovers did not go out without a fight against SSG, and I think PB has to be pretty careful that there's a lot that Leftovers can put on the board here. And maybe, as you heard Jesse sort of reference before, these swings that SSG weren't expecting. Well, if SSG is one of the most experienced and decorated teams in North America and they're not expecting it, I don't expect PB is going to be able to handle it even better than SSG did. So that's the kind of thing that PB needs to be ready for. Some serious gunners on Leftovers and some opportunity for them now to have this as a bit more experience. I would love for Leftovers to get more experience. Conversely, PB has a new, fragger on the lineup, so they themselves also need that kind of competitive experience. So I think from my heart, I want it to be a very, very close, 3-mapper, get the most out of it, really squeeze out all of the experience you can. But we'll see. That's going to be one of the highlight matches for me tomorrow is that one.
Oh, well, it has been so much fun with y'all, but we have so much action ahead of us tomorrow. So really quickly, Boop, roll up tomorrow's schedule. Get it up there. We start with EU, Rogue versus Victus, then Latam, Escolina, de Boo versus FaZe, and finally, NA, Parabellum versus the Leftovers. Is it the Leftovers or Leftovers?
Just Leftovers.
Stop adding the... Yeah. But I like the Leftovers. It's like add some gumption to it.
Sure. As you
I don't think they'll mind.
Yeah.
You know what? I'll talk to Butters. We'll get it sorted out. We'll figure it out. But anyway, I want to give a big thank you to my lovely analysts. Yes, Boop. You just zoom right into their beautiful faces. Jesse, I said it while we were in the break. 2 of my favorite people, period. So happy to be working with both of you again. A big thank you to all of our talent. You have all been fantastic and working so hard. And of course, I need to say thank you to the wonderful people behind the scenes. Sending you lots of love and lots of love to all of you at home. Okay, Boop, shut it down. We're out, and we'll see y'all tomorrow. Woo!